So, hi everybody. We welcome you all to this online impact workshop come masterclass organized by Center for Science and Environment. Thank you for logging in from different time zones. This is this workshop which we are running from past 2 days. It's a more of a celebration where we are sharing stories, success stories of how our alumni, our peers have learned from the CSE learnings have been translated into their action plan outcomes. And I would also like to take the opportunity to introduce the person behind the whole, who curated the whole concept, our Senior Director, Academic Director, Dr. Suresh Kumar Rohela. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, Marine. Good morning to all of you, all the speakers and the participants who are largely the alumni and the resource persons. And I would just share screen. Marine, if you can stop sharing the screen.
I'm doing that.
Yeah. So I hope I have the right presentation on the screen. With permission of all, I will have to repeat a little bit few slides which we did yesterday. Some of you attended the meeting yesterday. I would like to quickly give an overview of our program before I start off with a welcome note to all. Very good morning once again. Today the focus is about sanitation, and before I go, CSE has a water program and which includes sanitation focus also, and over past decade or so we have been extensively involved in not only just sustainable water management but sustainable sanitation and sanitation for all. Trying to establish, policy principles, innovation, technologies, implementation strategies, and we are actually aiming through both water and sanitation, lay the foundations for a water and waste prudent society. And I think this over a decade or so, we have been engaged with multiple partners across global South and as well as developed countries. In 10 years, we have beyond 5,000 plus alumni who have interacted with us. We are developing a demand-driven research, capacity building, and awareness creation program, and this all has brought us today to a place where I can proudly share with you our partnerships. We have across the globe established partnerships with eminent universities, individuals, government departments, international NGOs who have supported, who have partnered with us, who have nominated their colleagues, team members to come and do advanced trainings with us. So this has also resulted in CSC investing into a residential training facility, which has been created in under 20 kilometers from New Delhi, called Anil Agarwal Training Center, Environment Training Center. And as part of this training center, we have conceived different schools. And School of Water and Waste is the first and out of the 6 schools which has been developed at AETI. This is a teaching, learning and innovation center looking at affordable solutions for India and Global South. And we are involved here in this school conducting short-term training programs, which are 1 week to 3-4 days. And these are around 24-hour weeks of training per year. We have exposure visits being organized for learning from on the ground with real implementers and real beneficiaries, interactions with our alumni. We have webinars hosted time to time to peer-to-peer learning if we can't meet in person with the people who are implementing and doing research on the ground. We are also, for past 5 years, we have successfully run online programs, and at the moment also there are 3 online programs running with over 100 participants in each training program. We also have curated knowledge conclaves in various thematic areas. One of the knowledge conclave is SFD Week, which is very popular, and another one is nature-based solutions and green infrastructure. And we also time to time respond to the demands which come from the sector players for off-site tailor-made training programs. So we do this time to time, and we have alumni network meetings, something like this, at various locations across the world. Whenever we go to cities and countries, we reach out to our alumni, interact with them. So this has been possible with generous support from our credible donors, including Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and various other donors. We have raised 700 fellowships for both national and international, covering flight costs, training costs, and we have also given priority to supporting Global South participants, in particular from Africa. So these are some of the background slides which tell us that this journey of last 10 years has resulted in around 5,000 plus alumni. And yesterday we focused on the water theme. Today we are talking about the capacity building initiative, which has focused on sanitation, fecal sludge management, decentralized wastewater management, citywide inclusivity, and we are talking about preparation of city sanitation plans and using tools and techniques which are state of the art. And an overview of these training programs. If we look at this journey, I'm not able to present here data for 10 years, but I'm presenting in last 2 years itself. I would say that, when I saw these numbers, I was really happy to say that, we have in last 2 years been able to have a community of practice of 768 people, out of which around 500 people attended residential programs and 262 attended our online programs. And even our online programs are paid programs, but however, they are curated in such a way that people do pay, but they also get appreciated about and the time which they spent doing the online course. They are given fellowships to attend advanced training programs at the residential training center. So in this sanitation sector, our major focus was more on advanced training, hands-on trainings for solution-oriented trainings. And we conducted in last 2 years around 18 training programs and 4 online training programs which were conducted, making it 22 total number of activities. And if we look at the spread of the topic-wise distribution of training programs, you would see this yellow color, which shows that 13 programs were organized in the area of FSSM and DWATS, which is decentralized wastewater treatment. This has been one of the focus areas because we have documented, the challenges and the issues which India faces and Global South faces in terms of the excreta matters. And we are focusing on excreta management towards more solutions to address this issue of non-sewer sanitation and people who depend upon on-site sanitation systems. Apart from that, we have also developed more holistic approaches like CWIS and City Sanitation Plan. These are the state-of-the-art tools where we have a planned approach to addressing the sanitation issues, and sanitation safety plan, bringing in the WHO's latest health and hygiene guidelines and ensuring that we have safe water access to all. I think these are some of the areas, and one of the very popular areas which I am also, how can I forget that, is the SFD. This is one of the most prominent state-of-the-art. We have catered to quite a number of people being trained who are actually developing shit flow diagrams, mapping of fecal flows in their areas and developing citywide sanitation plans. So shit flow diagram program is a very successful training program, 270 alumni from that. Total, we are 768 people. And this slide shows you the kind of alumni we have. We have both government and non-government people attending. You will see that in this case, yesterday in the water program, we saw there was only 25% government people. But in the sanitation sector, we have had a very good engagement with government, with 56% of people coming from government, 56 people coming from non-government, and 43% people coming from government departments for taking benefit of the advanced training program which we have developed. We also have a good mix of gender. 21% of our participants are female participants. However, we do feel the need that we should improve on this, and we should have more engagements and ensure that there is a dedicated participation of female participants, female engineers. So today I have an honor to introduce you to our jury members for this Alumni Impact Story Meet. We have 2 members out of the 3 jury members today. Aditya had to pull out today due to some other commitments. Suparno Banerjee is our Senior Director of the Media Resource Center, who is our jury member today, and Rajneesh Shareen, my colleague who is the director at the Sustainable Buildings Program. He leads our green building program, and these are the 2 people who will help me decide and identify top 3 impactful alumni stories who would be given full fellowships to attend residential training programs in the coming year and conclaves at AETI, which will lead to identification of water leaders and fellows, which would be identified by the school. And however, all the people who are presenting today, they should not get disheartened.
Hello.
They would all be given a
Hello.
free copy of the Survey of Environment data book, which has been released very recently. So I think this is a quick background about the school, the jury members, and I would like to take this opportunity if our jury members can say hello to participants before I move on to the routine full presentation. So, Suparna, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, just thank you, Suresh, again for this opportunity. We had an excellent session yesterday, very well managed by your team and very good presentations. I'm hoping to hear more today. Thank you so much.
Rajneesh, please, floor is yours.
Yeah, hello everyone. I think yesterday was interesting. We have a lot of sessions which were like starting from communications to actual field ground studies, and we hope there is a lot of good stories to learn today as well.
Yeah. So just to, before everybody goes on, that we are looking at here the impacts. We are not looking at the training component and all those stuff. Tell us that how you have used those in achieving your success in your individual capacities, how you have used these skills further. I think we are looking at those stories. So Mehreen, back to you, please.
Thank you very much.
We expect that 5 to 6 minutes given to people, and we have a lot of interesting presentations coming up.
So before we jump into the presentations, just giving you a brief about the program. So today the themes are divided into two categories. One is on sanitation safety plan, city sanitation plan, and citywide inclusive sanitation, where we will have both individual and institutional capacity of presentations. Then the second theme will be on fecal, sludge, and decentralized wastewater management. So this is how we have divided the day today. Power-packed presentations, so not taking much of the time. We will start with the first presentation, which will be given by Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. So the first presentation is by Ratish Menon, who is the Associate Professor at SCMS School of Engineering and Technology, Kochi. His presentation will focus on sanitation safety planning at Kochi Municipal Corporation. Over to you, Ratish, and I will control from here.
Yeah, thank you, Mehreen. Am I audible?
Loud and clear.
Oh, okay. So, very good morning to you all. It's a pleasure to be here for this impact workshop. And
just a second. Some housekeeping rules. All the speakers are given 6 minutes, and I'm 6 minutes each. And if there is any question from the participants, request to write it in the chat box. All right. So you please go ahead, Ratish.
Okay. Yeah, so I had a chance to attend the SSP training in September 2019. And right after that training, we had a chance to talk to people at Kochi Municipal Corporation and present whatever we learned from CSE. And they got interested, and they wanted us to demonstrate it at least for a few divisions in the corporation. So that's how this this particular project happened. And coming to the background of this, so Kochi is one of the commercial capital. We can say it's a very booming city in Kerala. And for those who are not from India, Kochi is in the southwest side of India. And Kochi Municipal Corporation has 74 wards, divisions, and with a population of 600,000 people. So two divisions or wards were selected for this SSP model, and Ward 56 and 54. These were the wards which also had a sewerage network. So Kochi city is not entirely covered by the sewage network. Only 4% of area is covered by the centralized sewerage network. So if you look at the data, we can say that 72% of people are still dependent on septic tanks to treat their waste. and 20% are connected to the wastewater treatment plant, and 8% they just drain their wastewater into the canal. So Kochi is famous for a network of urban canals, which were aimed to be commercial artery for Kochi when in the earlier time, but as the mobility shifted from water to road, people actually forgot about the urban canals, and they were made as a dumping yard for waste and solid waste and wastewater. So these two wards had their boundaries shared by different urban canals. So that was why these particular wards were selected. Going to the next slide. So we conducted a field survey in these wards, and as a preparation for SSP, ward level surveys were done to set the objectives, and the stakeholder analysis was conducted, and an SSV team was formed. And the facilitating organization was Center for Heritage Environment and Development, one of the very active organization, part of Kochi Municipal Corporation. They do wonderful work on the ground in environment and sustainability area. So they were facilitating this SSP, and we had members from Corporation Council, Health Inspector, and Cooperative Hospital doctors, Residents Association, and also the Water Authority people who were in charge of dealing with water and sanitation. So in this picture here, you can see that, Maureen, I just wanted to show.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. So in those pictures, you can see how the low-income group are residing near to this canal, and they are having directly their wastewater disposed into this canal. So they are very high-risk group identified in this particular SSP. Going to the next slide. So we did prepare a map of the sanitation system, starting from the source to the disposal. So we see the three different pathways and wastewater move from the source to the disposal site. One is through the sewerage network and wastewater treatment plant, and then treated wastewater is disposed to the canal. Another one is it gets bypassed and the sewage is directly disposed into the canal. And third one is the septic tank, of course, and most of the septic tanks are just leach pit, so they contaminate the groundwater. And also some septic tanks, when they need to be cleaned, the vacuum tankers, they take up the septage and then they just put it in a landfill site outside city, and it again allow the groundwater contamination. So the entire sanitation system was mapped, and exposure to the workers as well as the local community was identified, and at each sanitation step it was marked in this whole map. Going to the next slide. And we identified the events, hazard events, and what is hazard associated with these different events, and who all were the exposed groups. These groups were identified and the likelihood, and based on the likelihood and the severity of this hazard, the exposure risk score was calculated, and it was identified as certain activities or events that have high risk have been identified. And once these exposure risks were identified, an improvement plan was developed to protect these exposure groups. And based on this improvement plan, how do we monitor this improvement plan? And based on that, an operational monitoring plan was also developed as part of this SSP. Now coming to the final slide. So this whole thing become possible just because of the training that I received in the CSE. And this is actually one of the first exercise in Kerala, we can say, and it's a model for other urban local governments. And so this is only done for 2 wards, but there are many other wards or council members who got interested in this aspect, and they want to conduct this in their own wards, and maybe we will be doing for other wards pretty soon. and the training that we got, where we discussed each and every SSP step clearly, and these processes actually allowed the implementation in the city without any ambiguity. Then the unique thing I found in this training is the field exposure and the case studies, which actually helped in adequate preparation, because we discussed about the pitfalls and the problems that will be faced from the case studies from Alva and other places where SSP were conducted, and this allowed adequate preparation.
1 minute, just 1 minute you have.
Okay, so this SSP exercise created awareness. So people knew about the importance of sanitation, but they didn't know about the safe sanitation concept. So that's something we could actually create this awareness among the elected representatives as well as the stakeholders associated with the sanitation. And since we are going ahead in Kochi with the canal rejuvenation initiative, Kochi Water Metro is coming up with solar ferry boats. So they are interested in cleaning up these canals and providing an alternative sanitation facility. So people are throwing their waste into the canal just because they don't have any other option. So they are dealing with the sanitation aspect. And this particular study has actually given some additional thrust to the ongoing initiatives. Over to you, Marin.
Thank you very much. Thank you for giving us a flavor of what is happening with regard to sanitation safety plan in 2 of the wards in Kochi. Thank you very much.
Very interesting.
Thank you.
And we hope that it's been much more disseminated in other wards. Now, moving to the next presentation, we have with us Bakshish. So, are you able to see my slide? Yeah, so Bakshish is the former TIS UNICEF young professional. He has attended multiple trainings of Center for Science and Environment, particularly in the area of FSM, water, the wide area where we focus on. So his presentation the topic is interesting, what rural can learn from urban. Over to you, Bakshish.
Thank you, Marine ma'am, for such a kind introduction. So, yes, so can I have the first slide?
Yep.
Yep. So, so I've named it as Surakshit Swachhta Yojana in Aurangabad district, Bihar, because I attended, so this is on the basis of the training which I attended for sanitation safety planning, which I had attended in October 2018 when I was working as a Zilla Swachh Bharat Prerak under the collaborative program of Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation and Tata Trusts. So identifying the elephant in the room, why? So as sir also discussed about the importance. So again, since I'm talking about rural, I'll be mentioning a lot of points from what I experienced from my rural stint in Bihar. So Swachhagrahi's know about the importance of sanitation, but safe sanitation is something which I felt was not something which was much in the minds of the grassroots workers who are working there at the grassroots in Bihar. Specifically, I'm talking about Swachhagrahis. Swachhagrahis are basically the volunteers under the Swachh Bharat Mission program, rural, where their major task is to trigger the population in their own. So since they are village volunteers, they majorly work in their own village and surrounding villages. So I felt that there was a lack of, knowledge on public health. And since Swachh Bharat Mission was such a grand mission, making sure that each and every aspect of sanitation is being disseminated to the grassroots volunteers is something which is challenging. I try to do it on my own, at my own level, at the district level. Next slide, please, ma'am. Yes, so just setting the context, I was a ZSVP when I had implemented this. I had attended training in October 2018 and sanitation safety planning, just to give a basic overview of it to all the attendees who have not attended the sanitation safety planning training. It's a risk-based management tool for sanitation systems with the main objective of sanitation interventions so basic focus for sanitation safety planning is public health, and many of us might have heard of water safety planning. Similarly, along the same line, sanitation safety planning is a tool which is used majorly for urban areas. So it also has all sorts of metrics which help us understand in terms of how safe is our sanitation safety, our city sanitation systems. Next slide, please, ma'am.
This is the one, right?
Just one before this.
Okay. No.
Before. This is the last one.
Right.
Yes. Yep. So initially, so when I attended the training and I realized, ma'am, we've again come back to the second slide. Can you please?
There's a lag actually, you know. So
Yeah,
you have to wait.
yeah, that's the reason. Are you able to see it now?
Yes. Now it's perfect. Yes. So after I attended the training and understood some parts of public health, and also, so there are again multiple facets of it. Technical sides, which I'm generally, as the speaker before me was talking about, I'll be speaking mainly on the social aspects of, or you can say the software aspect of sanitation safety planning. So after when I came back from the training, Swachh Bharat mission was at its peak. We were working 24/7 throughout all the days of the week, and it was very much at a peak. So during my field visits, I realized that the people in the villages and also our grassroots workers, Swachhagrais, they have very little knowledge on the public health concerns. So, like for example, something as simple as changing the pit. Since the implementation of Swachh Bharat mission has been majorly on the twin pit toilet system, so how do we change the pit? What is the process of emptying of a pit? What are the major public health safety measures and precautions which needs to be taken? So I believe that since Swachh Bharat mission has had a lot of workforce working there at the grassroots, other than Swachhagrais, there were people from all departments: education, health, Pradhan Mantri Gramin Vikas Yojana, and so many programs which were converging with Swachh Bharat mission. But Swachhagrais were the only dedicated force which were working for it. So I thought that let's work with them. So after discussion with the district administration and after getting necessary approvals from the district water sanitation committee, which is headed by the district magistrate, I interviewed close to 556 Swachhagrais from all the 11 blocks of the district. So just to also give a insight to it, so this interview was not like an interview. It was more like a one-on-one interaction plus a group discussion. The photos will be there ahead so that viewers can understand what sort of a process I followed, because interviewing each and every, because these are rural people, and गांव में knowledge से ज़्यादा the way they express whatever little they know is something which holds a lot of importance. And all of these were village volunteers. Many of them were working voluntarily, and many of them were working but not being paid regularly, because the various, it's difficult to monitor. So they had a remuneration system of 150 rupees per toilet, which is something which is difficult to monitor. So I also worked a little bit on the monitoring part. So after the interview process, I shortlisted 121 Swachhagrais for a role of a specialist motivator for the village panchayat. And there's a plan I had made. Can you please move next slide, ma'am? Yes. So the training of these selected 121 Swachhagrais was conducted with the support from UNICEF Bihar Field Office, where, so as part of the training, since the training had different modules, and I was the only one who had attended the sanitation safety planning training, and I knew that these are the certain points which I really want to make sure that each and every, at least these 120 Swachhagrais are knowing this, so that going forward these points are being used at the grassroots level whenever they're going to fields, or whenever, if not field, they're meeting people, or they're conducting some capacity strengthening of the mukhias or the panchayat such as of the district. So and all the points which I had discussed with them were twin pit toilet technology related, and trying to shortly cover the different in the sanitation value chain, covering different facets of the sanitation value chain, starting from your the containment, which the storage. So generally in urban we have septic tanks, but over here we were having twin pit technology, and this, since it requires a thing, the transfer of pit also and emptying of pit and all those things. So we had tried to cover that bit through public health bit as part of the twin pit technology, and also maintenance of the toilet system. How do we maintain it? Making sure that we are not using any sort of detergent to clean.
2 minutes.
Okay. Monitoring and thank you. Monitoring and sustainability aspect. So this is something which I had done through making an application. So since we had close to 500 plus Swachhagrahis in the district, it was difficult to monitor the progress done in terms of toilet construction, and also if they are going to field and working. And I felt that there was a major issue of non-payment. So I worked on that through making a policy which was approved by the DWSC for 500 rupees per day payment to Swachhagrahis. Next slide, ma'am. Before this.
This is the one, the timeline, right?
Yes, sorry. I think okay. So this is something. This is something which I've already spoken about.
Okay.
October I attended the training. November I did planning. December and January for yes. So impact of the project. So it's been more than a year that I've been. Have not been to Aurangabad, the district where I served. But recently I was having a conversation from one of the resource persons from there, and I got to know that Swachhagrahis are being used in awareness generation. Those Swachhagrahis are being used in awareness generation activities for the COVID-19 pandemic, which really made me feel good about the fact that whatever efforts were being made in terms of the capacity strengthening of the Swachhagrahis is now, at least when COVID-19 pandemic is there, the importance of public health is a major concern, and they are on the ground helping the district administration in every sort of knowledge dissemination, and also in terms of practice dissemination as well, how to wash hands. These small points were also washing hands, and these points were also covered. And now I mean, when I was speaking to my colleague there, I got to know about this. So this was a very good feeling which I got, that those Swachhagrahis are being used in the COVID-19 pandemic as well. And so CSC training acted as a bridge for me for using the teachings and using those teachings which I got to disseminate them further to the rural grassroots of the country. Next slide, ma'am. The photos. Yes, so these are some photos. So as you can see in the first photo, this is part of a group discussion activity where this is a part of the assessment plan when the Swachhagrahis are being assessed in terms of for selection of Swachhagrahis. Second slide is a photograph from a triggering activity in a school. Next. Yes, this is first slide. In Bihar, we had Lohiya Swachh Bihar Abhiyan, which is a combination of Swachh Bharat Mission and Lohiya Swachh Bharat Mission of the state government of Bihar. So we had also conducted presentations during the training where people are presenting through chart paper and talking about their learnings. Next slide. Yes, so this is, as you can see, we had gone to, so this is a toilet which is in the phase of construction. The toilet which is being shown is not a very, not the perfect sort of a twin pit toilet, since the pits are, I'm not able to, so if you can see, the brick structure is not in the exact way. So these small points which we had also tried to cover in the training, and also making everyone go to the field so that they can learn. Second is photograph is for, so this is again telling the people about the structure. Next slide.
Bakshish, you'll have to go
yes, so again, the first one during, yes,
Bakshish, you'll have
yeah,
to
I'm just left
it.
with one slide, sir. Yes, next slide. Yeah, so as I was speaking about the monitoring application system, this is the monitoring application system I had made. And just to summarize, so what rural can learn from urban is the importance of public health, which is also required when we talk about the rural sanitation systems. And this was a small intervention which I had done in Aurangabad district of Bihar to make sure that the software aspect of public health is conveyed to the grassroots workers so that it's further being disseminated. And I'm happy to see that those same workers, Swachhagrahis are being used in the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Bakshish. Thank you very much.
So Mehreen, we will take one more presentation, then maybe open up for questions until and unless jury member has any question. And participants are requested to put their questions or queries in the chat box, where the speakers can also look at that and answer to them. Okay.
Perfect. Are you able to see my screen? The next presentation is by Eliza Patnaik, who attended our CWIS training. She is the senior consultant at Ernst & Young. Eliza? Hello?
Unmute.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. I am Elisa Patnaik. I represent Ernst & Young. We are supporting the technical support unit based at Orissa. We are supporting the Housing and Urban Development Department of the Government of Orissa in implementing the fecal sludge and septage management program in the state. Next, Mary. Yeah. So I would just give you a brief about Orissa and the way the government has been implementing the fecal sludge and septage management program. So Orissa is one of the states located in the eastern part of the country. And it has always been, one of the less developed states earlier, I would say about 10 years back, but it has made rapid strides recently in the last decade or so. And like other less developed countries, it had very poor sanitation indicators. But now with the government's focus on all other development indicators, including sanitation, it has made a lot of progress, especially in the last 5 years. So the FSSM program was started around 2017, early 2017. And the one unique thing about the implementation of this program in the state is that it has adopted a comprehensive approach towards FSSM, where it has laid a lot of stress on building an enabling atmosphere for implementing the program. So it has not just focused on building infrastructure, but it has also focused a lot on engaging communities in maintaining this infrastructure, in service delivery, in a lot of communication activities, capacity building, institutional arrangements, and also in having regulatory developing a regulatory framework in the form of regulations, which has been implementing the program. So now the state has, from 10 Amrut cities, the state has now scaled up the program to all the 114 urban local bodies in the state. So which is, like, I think the only state in the country to have scaled up the program to all the urban local bodies. Next, Mary.
Elisa, you have 4 minutes, so you have to be short and precise.
Just briefly touch upon the CWIS approach to FSSM. So all of you are aware that it is citywide inclusive sanitation approach towards FSSM, where you touch upon a whole lot of things to implement the FSSM program. So for us, what we have done, so most of the cities did not have city sanitation plans. So we did not wait for the CSPs to be developed. So what we're doing currently is trying to incorporate activities with CWIS approach, with CWIS focus in all the cities. Like we are beginning with about 10 to 30 cities, and gradually we'll be extending that to other cities as well, especially focusing on the urban poor and gender and safe management of waste in this. So that is one. And secondly, we are also trying to implement the CWIS approach intensively in one of the cities. So this has taken, this has been delayed a bit because of the present crisis. So this will be doing it very soon. And also the state government, as I was telling you, there have always been a lot of activities, involving all stakeholders. So even informally, the government has already been taking a lot of innovative steps, which in some way are, based on the CWIS principles. Next. So I would just quickly take you through some of the implementation with regard to CWIS activities that we have been doing. So when there are 6 principles of based on which the CWIS approach is adopted. So number 1 is equity, where there is fairness in distribution and prioritization of service quality. So what we have done is, we have tried to, there are a couple of things which are being already done in most of the cities. Like for example, the desludging services can be accessed through a multiple channels, and whichever is suitable to whichever section of the group can be accessed. And also there are efforts to, subsidize the desludging services for the urban poor communities in the cities, so that, they pay less. So a system is being developed so that, it's the operators are not at a disadvantage, but the urban poor communities also have some advantages in this. So there is a lot of effort in improving access, desludging access for urban poor in terms of, desludging services, where the government is procuring small cesspool vehicles, and also, using innovations like double boost pumps, so that, houses located in narrow lanes can be accessed. And others like, safe and clean toilets in urban communities in the form of community toilets. Yeah, next. So in terms of safety, so most of the cities have been declared ODS, management of the fecal toilet. So there's a presence of sanitation like other cities. And so the focus is more on the safe the containment part is mostly dealt with, but we are also focusing on conversion of insanitary toilets to sanitary toilets. So the focus is more now on the safe for transportation and treatment of the fecal waste. So right now there are 10 functional septic treatment plants in the state, and 26 more are coming up by the end of this year. And by the end of 21, the state plans to manage its black water either through treatment facilities or through temporary disposal sites called this deep row entrenchment sites, where the fecal waste is temporarily disposed safely at a designated site. And there is a lot of emphasis on the safety of sanitary workers who are working in fecal sludge and septage management. So Orissa is one of the state which has adopted and enforced the FSSM regulation, which is applicable throughout the state for all the 114 ULBs, where a penalty is levied on indiscriminate disposal and on other factors like, disposal of toilet waste to drains, etc. Next. So in terms of sustainability, so the focus is now on, having a regular source of revenue for continuing the FSSM services. So although the infrastructure is largely built by the state, so it is managed by the ULBs at the local level. So currently the funds generated from cesspool vehicle services are, able to sustain the services at the city level. And also trying to engage a lot of community stakeholders in the maintenance of these infrastructure and services, so that the ownership is more, the participation is more, and going further, we don't see the infrastructure not being maintained in the future. Next. So in terms of in terms of responsibility, there are regular reviews undertaken at different levels, both at the state level, district, and at the city levels, and dedicated staff designated at the ULB level and also at the district level to monitor and follow up and address issues on FSSM, and which includes a whole lot of indicators, so which have really helped in solving and addressing the challenges in FSSM. And also a lot of since the focus of the state is more on community engagement, so a lot of business opportunities are being created in sanitation for vulnerable groups like self-help groups, sanitary workers, rag pickers at the state, at the city level, so that the whole system functions on a foundation which is sustainable. Next. So in terms of accountability, so there are a lot of directives which are given by the state from time to time on various aspects of FSSM. And the ULBs are accountable to match up to all the indicators. And besides the regular typical reviews which takes in a government system, so we have tried to build in some amount of technology to the monitoring and accountable system. For example, a state level FSSM dashboard has been created, which captures performance of FSSM indicators at the city level. So it has indicators like number of trips generated, how much of it is being safely disposed, safe containment, the number of vehicles a city has, so things like that. So recently our team has started this FSSM tracker, which is now being utilized in cities which have treatment facilities. So it basically tracks the number of trips generated in a city and how much of it is going to the treatment plant and what is the plant capacity. So this has helped us immensely in day-to-day monitoring of the
less than 30 seconds
program. Yeah. So again, for resource management, so the state has largely pulled in resources from various programs and sources, like for example, the District Mineral Fund, the Amrut Fund for constructing the treatment facilities, and the lot of state budget funds from the state budget is also utilized for the FSSM activities. Next. So recently, I would like to mention that, the government of Orissa handed over the treatment, the operation and management of 4 treatment facilities to self-help groups in 4 cities. And one of them is a transgender a self-help group. So this is a path-breaking decision which has been taken by the government, and going ahead, so more SAGs will be engaged in the operation and maintenance of these plants.
Thank you.
So I would like to briefly tell about how the program, training program that I attended has helped us. So it has helped, particularly personally, it has helped me in understanding what the CWIS approach is all about, and especially its application in the cities, which I disseminated among my team members. And we conducted an internal capacity building workshop for all our 25 team members, which was really useful for them to implement the same in their city level. And very importantly, it has also connected us to a community of practice, which is very useful. And you come to know what other partners are implementing in CWIS in their respective cities. So that has been quite valuable. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. So if you want to take some questions, or should we move to the next?
No, let by the time you transition, Suparno, Rajneesh, you have any questions as a jury members to the participants, or you want to? Can you unmute yourself, Suparno and Rajneesh? You want to say anything?
There's nothing at this stage. I think we can pick, but yes, there are very good examples, which and I think the diversity of how.
Yeah, let's not.
Okay.
We can come back and do it later.
Okay.
Thank you.
And participants, if we are able to finish presentation on time, then we will have enough time we have kept towards the end to have question answers, and speakers can look into the chat box to answer the questions which are coming to their presentation. Thank you. Please,
our next presenter is Chanchal Modi. He's the program coordinator at WaterAid India. His topic of presentation is addressing sanitation issues with citywide approach. So Chanchal, over to you, 6 minutes.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. I hope I'm audible.
I'm sorry, I'm being a very bad moderator.
No. That's required actually. Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you so much, Mary. Good morning, everyone. I represent WaterAid India, and today I share learning of just one project which I coordinated, managed, and led. And then this is what we consider as only project using these learnings, as I know there are many experiments being tried out by different colleagues at WaterAid India, because some of the trainings have been participated by my other colleagues as well. So anyway, so actually I had a chance to be part of a few trainings on water and to sanitation, and basically this training, and I attended training in SFD in early 2017 and FSSM in early 2018. Anyway, thanks a lot to CSE colleague for providing this opportunity to share my experience and working over with the Ujjain Municipal Corporation. Ujjain as city, next slide, Marine, yeah. So Ujjain, it's a city in central India, which is located in Madhya Pradesh and known for its religious importance. And that makes the city being visited by significant number of mobile population throughout the year. And this also makes sanitation a challenging issue for the city government to address. And actually, I remember the engagement with Ujjain Municipal Corporation as a support started as a support for an event, but eventually turned it into a complete project of different kind later. Actually, in 2016, with request from Divisional Commissioner Water in India, supported Ujjain Municipal Corporation in assessment of community toilet and public toilet, demonstrating biodigester in a public toilet, zero discharge mobile toilet in collaboration of IIT. And using this successful event and collaboration, WaterAid India was requested to help them in planning and implementation of SBM as well, which was in fact that time not started due to planning for CMS. Yeah, next. So as an organization, I mean, it was a tough call that time as there was no committed fund. And at the same time, it was also an opportunity to work in a new model of partnership with municipality, as that has a potential to work with a citywide approach. As a precaution not to become an extended agency of the government, we agreed to work together on a mutual roles and responsibility like a non-financial MOU. And following this, we also brought our NGO, Bharatiya Gramin Mahila Sangh, who works as our local partner for community mobilization. Yeah. So this slide is very important. No, previous slide, Marine. Yeah. So how we did it actually? How we did it, because what strategy we used basically. We studied like regular situational analysis on existing gaps and providing feedback. This helped in actually in taking right decision at the right time while verifying the existing toilet demand. More than 2,000 left out families were identified. Gaps in contractor model also led to include beneficiary model. It became first city to have in MP to have beneficiary model. Otherwise, in whole MP urban, you know that only contractors were engaged for constructing the toilet in SBM. 2 contractors were terminated on quality issues. And a SIG flow diagram, we prepared SIG flow diagram and review of Amrit plan, and that we helped to see their gaps in sanitation value chain. And this, I mean, triggered them to have a, I mean, FSM solutions. Second, supporting and training strategies for implementing SBM with community-led approach. I mean, because most of the time while working on sanitation, working closely with the urban local body, what really misses out is the community engagement. So we did this actually. Actually, if you see that the ULB plan was to initiate construction of toilet all over the city at the same time, but we helped them in zonification of the city and using 3x3 matrix so that the marginalized can be prioritized, influencing UMC to engage again 2 more agencies using their IEC budget for community mobilization. And we help them in supporting launch campaign plan, establishing link in between annual MSHGs and Mohalla Samiti. You must be aware that Madhya Pradesh also has Mohalla Samiti regulations under which 100 houses can come together and can make a Mohalla Samiti in a slum. So how we ensured that how community should also be part of this whole drive, that was the, I mean, significant point of this intervention. Third, I will say that it was a building capacity, again, both demand and supply side, and demonstrating different kind of models. Like a number of short sessions and structured workshops we organized, and efforts were made to bring knowledge across the country so that they are aware of existing policies, regulations, and innovations being tried out. Even the few of the organization and presenter today, I mean, they were also part of these workshops actually. I feel that when, I mean, they participated in our workshop. We also organized exposure visit to Warangal with support from SK. Objective was to sensitize and trigger them again to take required steps. So what we did that we also, I mean, demonstrated models in their premises. I mean, different kind of a toilet model, what is leach speed, correct leach speed, lined toilets, unlined toilets, septic tank. It was just a model so that the engineers and engineering team and even the NGOs and people visiting the municipal corporation can see them. And I think all these 3 steps, last I will say the regular self-assessment, because being so, as we had a good rapport with the municipal corporation, we helped them in making their regular self-assessment of existing gaps. And these 3 steps, which I just discussed, help municipality to improve it. And it was again verified from time to time. And WaterAid and partner played this role of third party also, that as a third party, how do we look at them? So FSM assessment and Amrut Ruby really influenced UMC to have FSM services. And it became first city to have FSTP, and that also using its own finances. I was surprised to see even after a year of procurement, I just went there and I see that how they were also documenting. I mean, the caretaker who is monitoring the FSTP, he was documenting actually that when the vehicle comes, when the vehicle goes out, and without any NGO. That was actually important thing to, I mean, note down. So I think this simple effort and strategy helped Ujjain Municipal Corporation to achieve ODF. I mean, I think it was within 1.5 or 2 years, and it achieved 12th rank in 2018 at national level, national ranking survey. I mean, ranking, sanitation ranking, which we normally call such survection. Though I don't much believe in it, but still you need to have some indicators. And followed by 4th rank in 2019. So you can see a jump on how improvement the city government is making. And it was, and most importantly, I will say that, which I feel that as a good achievement of WaterAid, that it was ranked 1 in the medium size, and it also got awarded 2nd position for citizen-led initiative. So that is very important, that how citizen participation were seen as a component, an important component, and community leaders and NGOs were invited for the city level workshops as well at the national government that represented their case studies. Next. So how we did it actually? I know, so there's some interesting, diagram. Now there is no more text, more text, but how we can see that how sheet flow diagram, as most of you are familiar with, while taking data for SFD as part of detailed assessment, we also use GIS to reflect the faulty nature of toilet constructed under SFM. So the map which you are seeing, actually it's a significant portion of the city has high water table issue, and by design, least speed toilets were constructed. So we have mapped that how high water table and low water table and kind of toilets they have constructed. So it gives a sense that which are the areas where wrong toilets were constructed and where the retrofitting needs to be planned. Even though you have a toilet, but there are still more things to do. Yeah, next. Second, this is the review of the Amrut, it's very good to see that because when we approach them, when we approach them, my first instance, they talked about FSM, like engineering team, they totally ruled out any need, and they said that the whole city will get covered with FSTP. However, after going through their own plan and finances, we got to know that even if everything goes well, even though by 2050, they would be able to cover just 60% of the population. So if you see map, it's clear that in the current plan in hand and finances available, they can't cover the whole city. In fact, there will be still a large portion of the city which will be out of their plan. So if you see the area, previous slide, Mary, just to have an idea. So it says that these 3 colors shows that different, zones of their planning, that they will first start with the pink one, then they will move on the blue one, and then followed by the orange one. And still there will be the area where there is no plan actually. And there is no plan. So how, the people sometimes municipality think that Amrut and sewage network is the only solutions, but how a significant of area, even apart from slums, are going to remain out. Yeah, next.
Chanchal, 1 minute left.
Yeah. So now these are some recorded moments actually, that how we really did it and how these workshops were done. Yeah, next. And these are some community mobilization, some of the IC we use, that how we really also triggered the community. Yeah, next. Impact of the training learning. So how actually really. Now learning helped to look at the issues of sanitation beyond out here. Content and not content system was a great learning, and I keep always talking about that. You need not to talk about different typology of toilet, but whether the typology we are talking about is contained or not contained, whether it's that is very important, because we keep got confused into different things of toilet and measurement and all, but it's very important to see content and not content. Attempting to use this learning in Bhopal and small towns of Chhattisgarh now. So I primarily look the urban program of WaterAid, but now I also look after the rural FSM. So how this learning can be used over there. So we are attempting to SFD in Kanker and Kanker town also. Training on SFD and FSM help to look into perspective of solution. As you said, not just gaps, because you can prepare SFD, but what after SFD? What are the solutions? We are also using then how, the idea of using GIS and spatial data to review the build over SBN and Amrut, where ripple effect of those training, I will say that I would have not gone into this GIS detail. This learning could have not happened. Again, demonstrating DWARDs at slum level and planted gravel bed at town level. We have demonstrated it in, slum level, we did it in Bhopal and this PGB, planted gravel bed, we did it in Kumari town. And now we are also using in the rural FSM. In fact, in Kanker, I will say that we identified, with an advocacy approach, there are 50 points were identified where wastewater are meeting water bodies through drainage, and how we are taking up with the district sector and the municipality to go over the DWARD, because we are not investing in there. So training provided a platform to get connected with other sector players also, I think. Biggest impact, again, I will say that UNC was the first city in MP to have FSTP with their own resources, and impact was seen even in the management of data and monitoring. If you can see that this file, one photo, this is a log file that which is being maintained at the FSTP. Yeah, and the photo is one that how at slum level DWARD had been constructed. So I think apart from this, I will also like to mention here, that WaterAid India is also using rainwater harvesting training, which the other colleagues have got here. they are also being tried out. I know this is not part of my presentation, but I will say again, it's the impact of the training that the training by the colleagues and rainwater harvesting. A lot of people are, trying out in their respective projects. And somehow, again, I'm saying that I'm representing only one project actually. So there may be that an organization can compile those learnings, and there can be again one more presentation where WaterAid India presentation can be there. Yeah. So at last slide, just last slide, it's not a slide, that this is basically some accreditations which municipality wrote to us. And if you see even the letter, they specifically says that actually how our FSM assessment help them to actually improve their sanitation ranking. So I think these are some accreditations. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chanchal. Very inspiring. Very inspiring to see people understand and implement on the ground. Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. So next presenter is Qazi Al Amin. He's the coordinator of CWIS and Technology Development Practical Action Bangladesh. It's more of an individual level of impact, the turning point, what he says. So over to you, Qazi. You have 6 minutes. The range of trainings he has attended. Qazi, can somebody unmute him, please?
Yeah.
So can I skip? All right, you want to start?
Yeah, Marin. Yeah, thank you very much. It's an even pleasure for me to share some of the experience and some of my activities with my dear alumni. And I love to know more from my friends. So that's why I'm preparing my presentation very short. And I will only emphasize on the impact, what is already I have done in my previous activities. So a previous slide, please.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
Previous.
Okay, this previous.
Yeah, okay. So no, second.
All right.
Second one.
This one.
So I have attended 3 training conducted by CSE so far. So the first training was conducted in 2017, and 18 and 2020 I attended more 2 training. So from the training I have learned more from the FSM. I learned the sheet flow diagram. I learned the CSP, and in my last training I have learned from CSE about the CWIS. Okay, next please. After learning from the CSE in 2017 about the SFD sheet flow diagram, so I started practicing the sheet flow diagram and preparing the sheet flow diagram in my studies. So at that time, I conducted a baseline study on fecal sludge management in a particular city in Soyedpur, and I used the sheet flow diagram in my report, and it was appreciated by the municipal authority. And I found from the presentation that it was a magical tool for me to convince and to present my findings and to present the gaps in the sanitation sector, to present the challenges in the sanitation supply chain, value chain. And it was really a powerful advocacy tool for me and tool for the client who were working on that project. And it was very easy to understand for the very normal people, the municipal people and the other local peoples. And it was also attractive. So after getting all those points from my first presentation, so I started using a sheet flow diagram in my other baseline study. I conducted a baseline study for NGO Forum in Mymensingh 2018. I used the sheet flow diagram, and it was highly appreciated. And then I got the opportunity to work with Muhit Bhai of WaterAid Bangladesh in preparing 9 sheet flow diagram in 9 municipalities of Bangladesh, and it was in 2018. And then I have been working with Practical Action since last September 2019. So after joining in Practical Action, I got the opportunity to prepare 4 sheet flow diagram for the project areas of the Practical Action. And we already done all the SFD, but for the COVID situation, the validation workshop has to be postponed. So I think that after the situation, it will be finalized. And we have also planned for preparing 5 more sheet flow diagram in the next year for the Practical Action in other project areas. Next slide, please. So this is the overall sheet flow diagram I already worked on. So I have completed total 11 sheet flow diagram. Currently working on 4 and plan to work on 5 in next year. So next slide, please. Okay, so in my last training, I got to know about a CWIS approach from the CSC team. And after attending the training, so in our current project, we have implemented some approaches. We have implemented some steps to address the CWIS in our current project. So we were going to consultation meeting with the project director of National Urban and Wash Program by LGED, that is Local Government Engineering Division, and the DPHE, Department of Public Health Engineering. So which are the DPHE is responsible for implementing project for water sanitation in the urban and rural areas, and LGD is responsible for implementing project of water and drainage system. So we want to sensitize the sanitation planning, and we want to introduce the CWIS approach in their sanitation planning, so that in the next planning, when they will go into the plan, so they will adjust the CWIS approach in their future planning. And we plan to increase the capacity of our key stakeholder and the government official we are working on in the municipal level. So we plan for conducting 28 different training sessions by next June 2021. And so far, we already conducted 8 training sessions with the 4 municipal area. So our target is to capacity development for 52 elected representatives from different municipalities, 80 municipal officers, and 100 sanitation workers from our project areas. And we also plan for conducting a city sanitation planning, CSP, for 8 project municipalities, and it will also address the CWIS approach. And we plan to conduct it by next June 2021. Next slide, please. So these are the areas we are planning to conduct the CSP. So it's a Faridpur, Rajbari, Magura, Meherpur, Kolarwa, Satkhira, Barguna, and Bagherhat. So after implementing this CSP, then we will go for conducting more CSP and in our other project areas also. Next slide, please. Okay, so after getting the training, in the last training, we come to know some case studies from different cities of the India. They already started women entrepreneurship in the sanitation sector. So we started encouraging the engagement of women in the sanitation sector. We already have several meetings and several approach to engage women in public toilet management, the emptying and transportation services system. So we are trying to give them the vehicle to run the operating and emptying facilities, and we are trying to engage them in the production of the necessary sanitation items. So we want to engage them the business in the sanitation sector and also in the other value chain segment of the sanitation. And one important achievement from the training is in the participant, there were 2 mayors attended in the training. So after getting the training and visiting the toilet museum, so they are very much encouraged and motivated. So just coming back to Bangladesh, they've already started to install lots of public toilets in the different importance areas in their respective areas. They're trying to setting up biogas plant with their public toilet system, and they are very interested to install and piloting DWAR system, what they observed in the Nimli campus. And they are considering the poor people in their every planning session. And one thing is I want to mention that in the CWIS approach to ensure the affordability and accessibility of the toilet and the service chain, we are working with the private manufacturing company, Metal Private Limited, to prepare cost-effective and the reasonable price for the safety and transportation equipment.
All right, 20 seconds, 10 seconds. That's it? Great. You are
Irene,
done.
I think the screen has gone off. Can you?
Okay, sir. I think somebody had shared the screen. That's
yeah, no worries. So I've done with my presentation.
okay.
So yeah,
Perfect.
very happy to present my experience and my planning with you.
Thanks
Thank you,
a lot.
Mary. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kazi.
So our next presenter is Farhad Safi, who actually is was part of the thesis project he did with CSE. Can the host please ensure that nobody else shares the screen?
Anup Kumar ji, आप अपना screen sharing बंद कर लीजिए.
Thank you.
Anup ji.
Done.
Yeah. So Farhad, can somebody unmute him?
Yeah.
So hi Farhad. So you go.
Hello.
You have 6 minutes. So go ahead.
Yes. Hello, Mehreen. Greetings to all. It's a great pleasure to be part of this session. So yes, can you bring that first slide? I think my introduction.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Okay, fine. No problem. So I will start with here. I think the screen was missed because of the technical issue. That's why. Yeah. As you said, I attended a research project with CEC under my MEC Sanitation, and you can see the topic. Can we go to the slide, my own slide? Yeah. Next one. Yes, so my project with the CEC and my research topic was to monitor changes in citywide sanitation. It was basically assessment of SFD and CSD tools for monitoring citywide changes in citywide sanitation. So it was, I'm sure you all know about SFD, and it was interesting that some of our colleague participants here already presented their work related to SFD. So in this presentation, I will slightly explain about my research project, which might be interesting to all of you. So these two tools, you know well about them. So they are used to show the SFD shows excreta flow in a city and been principally used for advocacy, and CSD similarly for enabling environment. So in my work, which I did with the CEC, can we go to the next slide? I explored these two tools for monitoring citywide changes in sanitation. So basically, I did my research work in Trichy, Tamil Nadu from January to March 2019, and so it was about 2 months of field work in particular, and there I visited a lot of places, did interviews. At the end, I developed ECFD for Trichy for 2019 and CSD scorecard for Trichy. Can we go to the next slide? Mehreen, can we go to the next slide?
I think there is some lag. Can you see that now? It's the results of research.
We can see the next slide, but I think there is a lag due to technologies.
Farhad, are you there? I think he is disconnected.
Are you talking about result of the research that is on the screen?
So yeah, we are on the right slide, the result of my research. So from work I did, we find out that SFD graphic has the potential to be used for capturing changes in citywide sanitation at the level of services, and CSD for enabling environment. So the suitability of SFD graphic was more, and at its present state, it's fine, it's workable, but CSDA has some limitation, and that needs to be improved. So this was finding of my research. I've been working on research. I have worked on a research paper as well, which I can share. Marin could also share with this presentation with you, so you can see the details. What was the method of my my research and what was the findings. But I briefly explained about it in this slide, and also I have prepared a poster on my work, which can also be shared with you, and you can see the details of it. I tried to keep it short. Can you go to the next slide so I can explain how the knowledge I gained from this work been used in my professional life? So after completion of my project, it is just like an year after I did this work with CEC, I've been given a major responsibility as a team lead for sanitation in a USAID project of water and sanitation. In this project, our main focus is to develop, conduct sanitation studies for 5 major cities and then prepare sanitation plan. It is not a typical sanitation planning work. Each city will take about 2 years to conduct and complete a CSP for it. So we do a detailed work in each city, and we also have component of capacity building. So to come specifically how I use this knowledge. So from the time I'm back to Afghanistan and I complete my project, I have developed 6 SFDs for 6 major cities of Afghanistan, and as my responsibility, I lead the sanitation studies in 5 major cities. So the work I did in Trichy was similar to this, but this work is more in detail. So my field work actually helping me a lot to lead the field staff from my experience in Trichy, I now know the challenges associated with working at the citywide level. So yes, I can say that significantly it helped me and also my team to work for the sanitation studies for these 5 cities. And now the second step in our work was to do sanitation planning. So from the exposure I gained in Trichy, some of you might know it's a very vibrant city in terms of sanitation activities. So we have CSP we already have a city sanitation plan for Trichy from 2018, and also we have now CWIS project ongoing. There is one of the trial cities for CWIS. So all those learnings from the city-wide project activities is helping me also with the sanitation planning work we do for 5 major cities. So the thing about Afghanistan is that the sector is very new here, and the knowledge I have gained from the project in CEC and in Trichy is significantly helping us all here with the sanitation studies and planning, and different models being there implemented or ongoing in Trichy. The CWIS, the type of systems they have for wastewater management. So at the zonal level, they had the decanting station for FSM.
Perhaps 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Yeah. So I can summarize that. So not only until now, but in the coming activities until completion of this project, at least, which will take 4 years under USAID funding. So the knowledge I have gained would be significantly helpful during my work. So thank you so much. It hasn't been long from this project, but very helpful indeed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Farhad. And I should give the participants background about this presentation, because he is not an alumni of any of our trainings. However, we have a tie-up with UNESCO IHE Delft institution, and we host interns for 3 to 6 months in India. As under that partnership, he has done exemplary work, I should say. Coming from a different country, he went to a city in India and learned about the SFD tool and implemented it on ground. So great. So next presentation.
So next presenter is Unnati Jack. So we heard stories from India, Bangladesh, Afghanistan. Now we move to South Africa. So it's an institutional level, this presentation. So over to Unnati Jack, who is the water utilization engineer at Ibanti Management, South Africa.
Thank you, Marin, and good day, everyone. We'll be talking about the experience and the impact, the training we had with CSE on developing SFDs in South Africa. You can go to the next slide. Amanti Management, that is the company I work for, was appointed by the Water Research Commission of South Africa in an 18-month project. The main purpose of the project was to apply the SFD tool to targeted metropolitan municipalities and smaller municipalities within the country. This was a first national initiative for South Africa because there's currently, before the project, there was only one municipality that had developed SFDs in the country. So we had to look for innovations to SFD tool use for South African circumstances. We had to profile SFDs to broader municipal sector. That means we had to profile it to different stakeholders, water and sanitation stakeholders within the country, because it's a new initiative, and we had to provide capacity training to these different stakeholders. Okay, you can go. Because this was a new initiative in the country, as a project team, we had to familiarize ourselves with this concept, SFD concept, and we were fortunate to be trained by CSE on how to develop SFDs, how to interpret them, how to train other people on the development and what are the necessary steps. So they gave us some tips on how to conduct the process. In addition to the project team being trained, CSE assisted us in conducting workshops where we were sensitizing the sector stakeholders on this SFD development. So CSE was part of conducting these workshops with different stakeholders. So we had experts that train us, so it was some kind of training of trainees. Then we had these workshops at 2 regions in the country. That was in 2018. 1.5-day workshops were held in both regions, which was a very good training. You can go to the next one. It was a good training because those sector partners, the stakeholders, they supported the initiative, and it was very much welcomed because it was realized that sanitation has been sort of lacking attention if you compare it to drinking water initiatives. So the workshops sensitized the municipalities to participate in this initiative, such that in both of the regions that we had workshops, 4 municipalities attended the workshops in each of these, and all the municipalities that attended the workshops, they volunteered to become part of the project. So we ended up developing 8 SFDs in the country, 4 SFDs in each region. Then from there, the project team continued to train, to have one-on-one trainings with the targeted municipalities after we had the sensitization workshops where we developed the SFDs with the municipalities. Okay, you can go to the next one. The impacts of these to date was that the sector, the whole sector, became aware of SFD, and the municipalities that were part of this. Actually, it's not only those municipalities. because now we are having workshops, and then there was an FSM conference last year. So our municipalities are becoming more aware of SFTs now, and they are learning to prioritize by identifying what are the gaps in their SFT outputs. We also took a step further by saying once they are able to identify the gaps, we developed a remedial action plan where they have to identify within the sanitation system where do they need to focus on and what are they going to do. So they had to develop action plans where they can plan and budget in future, so that they have budget included in their longer term plans within the municipality. Okay. The expected impacts are that the development and implementation of remedial action should be ongoing, and municipalities can continue tracking progress on the implementation of their action plans. And we are hoping that there will be improved fecal sludge management in the country. And where the municipalities have identified that there's lack of information or data, they will improve that by going out and finding out data. And what was very interesting was that municipalities got to realize that by going out in the field during the SFT development, because we also went out, conducted site visits with the municipal representatives, they understood their sanitation systems better, because what they thought they understood was not what they found when they went out and visited the sites. So they got to understand their systems better. And we're hoping that the sector will use this in terms of reporting and planning. If we can have all municipalities developing their SFTs in the country, then that will be a good progress. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, you have something more?
Yes. yes. Okay. Okay, the future plans that are already planned for, that is something that we will be starting in now, tomorrow. That's the 1st of July. So we've got a plan already to have high-level stakeholder advocacy and engagements, where we will be talking at the stakeholders who have an influence in the sanitation sector to develop more SFTs in the country. And if we can maybe develop a first order national SFT that will be a South African view, we think that will show progress, because if we can have more SFTs, and then that will also be part of showing progress in terms of development goals. So we also looking at developing more innovations, including there's a project that we are involved with USAID, where we will be developing a climate resilient SFD. So we're looking at all those, and then we are looking at closing this gap by profiling the fecal sludge management toolbox, where we will be using the toolbox to close the gaps that were identified from the SFD development. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
So we are done with theme 1.
Yeah, we can take a pause in the meantime and ask Rajneesh if he's online. Rajneesh, do you, as a jury member, do you have any questions to any of the presenters? You want to know more about anything? Rajneesh. Okay. So all participants are requested to once again put their questions or queries onto the chat box, and we will ask the speakers to have a look at that and maybe come back later on towards the end in person to answer these things. Okay. So Mehreen, you can go on to the next session. So next session you can introduce.
Yeah. So the next session, it's on fecal sludge management and decentralized wastewater management. Over here, we'll start with the first presentation, which is by Mr. Prasanta Mahapatra, which is the Director, Water Corporation, Odisha. It's more of an institutional presentation. So over to you, sir. Can somebody unmute him, please? Or
Prashanta ji, I'm sorry, I realized that you had to, I hope you're still around. You had to go for a meeting.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Can you see, can you hear me?
Yeah,
yes,
loud and clear, sir.
I don't know.
Good afternoon to all of you. Good afternoon. And thank you, Dr. Rohila, for giving me this unique opportunity to speak all of you here. And it is really my pleasure to, address all of you. And I am really thankful, Dr. Rohila, that with our cooperation for last 3 years and 3 and 4 years, we have come so far. And here I will be talking about our impressions, what we did in the last 4 years with cooperation with CSE. Next slide, please. Elisa Patnaik has already, summarized our achievement, what we did in Odisha in FSSM. We started, in this slide, this is the kind of summarization of what we have done. In 2015, we took the opportunity of Amrut program, and we are the first state to opt for fecal sludge management instead of sewerage management. 2016, we looked after, because there was nothing in the country, hardly only one plant in the Vanahali. So we addressed the technology, what needs to be done in addressing the fecal sludge management. How do you treat that? So we developed in-house some technology and prepared a DPR. In fact, we sent that DPR to IIT Kharagpur for vetting to gain some confidence that the technology that we are going to adopt really works. 2017, we bought a lot of cesspool vehicles for septage transportation. The photo on the top, you can see the new vehicle. We bought 86 vehicles provided to 57 ULBs. Then we developed the state sanitation, urban sanitation policy, then the strategy. Then 17, 18, we started constructing the fecal sludge treatment plants. 10 plants are already operationalized in 2018 October itself. Then we have been constructing fecal sludge treatment plants to saturate all our 114 urban local bodies. 2020, as you can see in the bottom photo, we engage women self-help groups in the operation and maintenance of the fecal sludge treatment plants. So we have sort of, in the words of Secretary Mohua, we have de-technologized the FSTP so that it becomes so simple that even women self-help group can operate the plants. And in this process, this is not the journey of Odisha government alone. So we have E&Y, we have CSE, and we have many other experts who are with us. Next slide, please. So what we learned from CSE. In my chance meeting with Dr. Rohila in 2017, in FSM 4 at Chennai, I requested him that since this is a new sector and hardly there are any training providers who have the background or who have the knowledge, and with the competency of CSE, why not they help the government of Odisha in the capacity development of our engineers and the municipal functionaries. In fact, we had some 60 new engineers. They were inducted into the government in the urban development department. So it was a challenge for us to train them, to capacitate them. And the new things were coming up, like the sit flow diagrams, and how do you design? Suppose a person, 1 or 2 can design, but how to train all these persons? How do you sensitize them? The entire value chain of fecal sludge management was not well known to, in the entire country also. So we were all, searching for solutions. And thankfully, Dr. Rohila agreed, and thanks to our state government, then we got CSE's training under Amrut. So we learned all about those modules, the sheet flow diagrams. And as I was listening to many presentations here, it has tremendously, not only in India and, outside India also, it is such a powerful tool. And our engineers and our municipal functionaries, they're really happy. They really were so pleased. I am personally so pleased that we could and all could learn this sheet flow diagram so easily from the expertise available with CSE. Then the septage treatment, even in one of the sessions when I was present, they were explaining how to design, and it was such an interactive session, calculating capacity, sizing, and for me also it was many lessons learned. And also, Marin Madam, you also took some classes, urban design, and so many, I can't remember so many things. It has been, uh, so much of learning. It is difficult to pinpoint, in person, but wonderful experience learning from all the expertise that is available with you. Next slide, please. Then what we learned there at New Delhi or at the Nimli Institute, so it helped our people back in the state in the implementation of the entire program. I'm very happy also that even our E&Y experts, they were also, they took training in CSE. So with the knowledge that we gathered, it was, in fact, to talk about FSSM, in today's world, everybody will talk about FSM because they have now implemented and they have gone through the whole journey. And it is because of you, CSE, Dr. Rohila, you gave the opportunity to us. So our engineers now, they have become very street smart. And the municipality level also, learning a little bit on urban governance and focus on project implementation and sensitization of all the aspects of the value chain that made us really worthy. And with that capacity, that enabled us to better implement our projects. That is why, with the able guidance of our principal secretary, Odisha is marching ahead, in the implementation of fecal sludge management in all the, towns and cities of Odisha. Next slide, please. Already, I do not know whether our participants, they know it or not. Odisha government has already signed an MOU with CSE for, urban water sensitive urban design. So that will help the cities in all the 114 urban local bodies. It will help us in managing the urban floods. And maybe if we start, working together, there will be other challenges also, challenges related to water pollution, challenges related to, drawdown or scarcity of groundwater. Though this is a coastal area, it's a coastal state, we will expect a lot of rainfall, but despite the adequate number of lot of rainfall, also there are many cities which are water scarce. So when we adopt the design, the other day I was listening to Dr. Rohila's water sensitive urban design. So it's a lot of challenge. There is a lot of understanding. There is a lot of clarity that needs to be addressed. So it will in the coming months, it will be challenging both for CSE and also for us, to merge together and march together in the water sensitive design area. So with this, I thank you all for listening to me. Thank you, Dr. Rohila. Thank you, CSE.
Thanks, Prashanta ji. I just forgot, I was aware that you had some meeting you had to go, but I hope it is not disrupting too much. If there are any questions from any participants to Prashanta ji, please pose there. Thank you, Prashanta ji, for your kind words, and we look forward to a long journey. And actually, we enjoy that if there are more challenges and if Odisha offers us those challenges where we can be part of a solution to those challenges, I would say. So that would be interesting to see. Otherwise, easy job done is not the job done for us. So thank you very much, man.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind words.
So we have completed, I think, Marine. We are into the second theme.
Yeah,
no?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
Thank you.
So thanks, Prashanta ji, once again. Raghu, yes. Next.
So our next presenter is Raghu Soma. He's the environmental engineer at Silsila municipality. He attended a couple of trainings related to city sanitation plan, fecal sludge management. And his topic of presentation is implementation of fecal sludge management in Silsila city. So over to you, Raghu. We are time. Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Actually, being an alumni and being a speaker at today's workshop, it's a really pleasure to me. And Silsila is a second grade municipality of Telangana state, 75,640 population based on the 2011 census. But the containments are around 16,000. In that, 40% of containments are single pit, twin pit, semi-permeable walls, which is connected to open drain. And then remaining 60% of the containments are fully lined and sealed septic tanks, which are also connected to open drain. Silsila doesn't have a sewer network, so I attended the trainings, couple of trainings in conducted by the CSC and JIZ, on city sanitation plan at Hyderabad. I attended those which we have got to attend that training programs. Coming to the presentation, this is our plant. This is the layout. Next slide, please. Yeah, project cost is 1.6 crore, which is got from 14 Pepsi funds. So project time is 12 months and implementation agency the group. Based on the sheet flow diagram, we decided to construct the fecal sludge treatment plant to save disposal of the fecal and decreasing the pollution load to the environment. So next slide, please. These are the whatever the actually our FSTP based on purely nature music solutions. We have used the modules in our FSTP. There is a screening chamber to screen the solids from raw FS, and stabilization reactor is there, and the unplanted sludge drying beds are there. So after that, indicated ABR with filter chambers are there. The planted gravel filter is there, and collection tank, and sand and carbon filter is there. Finally, polishing pond is there. So these are the modules of our FSTP. Through that, we are till now receiving almost 180 loads till now. So per day is average is 2 loads. Actually, we have only 5 licensed operators are here. So those are earlier actually those are whenever they empty the septic tanks, they disposed in an open ground illegally. So now actually they are very happy to have a FSTP to dispose in a safe manner. Next slide, please. These are the complete flow process of the fecal sludge treatment plant. I think all are aware about this. Next slide, please. Actually, impact and outcome, whenever we're talking about impact and outcome, there is a lot of change before intervention, before the FSTP and after the FSTP. So the illegal disposing of fecal sludge has been stopped, and now the farmers are knowing the importance of the manure. They are really asking us to buy the natural fertilizer to utilize it in their fields, and moreover, mango farmers are mostly demand from them. So these are the impacts, and our future plan is mostly now the O&M is taken care about this blue water company for 2 years. After these 2 years, we are involving the self-help group women to maintain the fecal sludge treatment plant and as well as emptying service for their livelihood purpose. So we have a proposal to procure a vacuum truck through their TLF fund, and in future the self-help group women will engage in the sanitation sector. Yeah. Mostly, I attended the trainings conducted by the CSC. So sheet flow diagram I attended, and CSP trainings at Hyderabad in 2015, 16, 17, and the final training also I attended. So really, whatever I acquired the knowledge, through that I prepared a DPR, a draft DPR for our fecal sludge treatment plant. Through that, whatever we find the gaps, so design a FSTP with the partner of CDD and other freezer group. So now it's commissioned last year. We are still waiting the lab reports. This is my presentation, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Raghu, for an interesting presentation, and you are one of our brightest alumni. You know, we have had a long association.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
And today, to have you as a speaker is my privilege. You know.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
So,
Yes,
Rajneesh, do you have any question to anybody till now? Rajneesh, Suparno, anybody? Any
Not
of the
exactly.
jury members?
I think not exactly the question, but I think we have taken a lot of time to absorb the information which is coming to us. So, and very interesting journey people are putting up, and I think the scales are very varied and a lot of interesting things for as a jury member also to learn from. Because
you have a difficult job.
Yeah, it's too much of information now to be handled within those, and people have really put a good effort to bring up whatever is the best on the field and from the learning which they got from C.
They are the real champions. We are just the receiving end. So looking forward to the next presentation. Marine, please take over.
Now we from Silsila down south, we go back to Bangladesh. So it's Tariqul Islam, who attended our international training on tools and approaches for citywide water and sanitation management. He's the senior technical manager at the NGO Forum for Public Health. So over to you, Tariq.
Hi, very good afternoon. So this is Tariqul. I am working with NGO Forum for Public Health. And this is a national service delivery organization as working with water, sanitation and hygiene, environmental dedicated to contribute the improvement of public health situation since 1982. So now I am presenting initiative of citywide fecal sludge management in city corporation area of Bangladesh. So ma'am, next slide, please.
Okay.
So we are currently implementing a project. The title of the project, Resilient, Inclusive and Innovative Cities in Bangladesh. So the project has implementing since July 2018, and the project will be continue up to 2023. So the major focus of this project is wash, fecal sludge management, disaster risk reduction, youth capacity development, etc. So in terms of fecal sludge management, the major objectives to develop a functional fecal sludge management system ensuring livelihood opportunity while ensuring disposal and treatment of the fecal sludge for the target groups. So the project has implementing jointly with Moymanshing City Corporation, and the funded from the project from Australian Aid and Oxfam Bangladesh. So, madam, next slide, please.
Yes, sir.
So, CSE contribution in knowledge development. So earlier I have ma'am already mentioned I have received a training on tools and approaches for citywide water and sanitation management system in 2018. So from this training, most relevant component, I have learned lots of decentralized wastewater treatment system, sheet flow diagram, and city sanitation plan also. So major achievement from this training, I have learned a lot of things, especially in the designing and technological knowledge, and enhance the skill on citywide sanitation management project. Also, networking with other professionals and FSM expert. So next slide, please. So now we can share the impact of implemented project. So basically this project have started since 2018, focusing the fecal sludge management. So under this project, we have initiated few activities, which is basically directly and indirectly impacted. So at the beginning, we have conducted the fecal sludge management system baseline study and characterization of the fecal sludge. This study is jointly with the Bangladesh Agricultural University, Moyamensingh. Besides, we have analysis the containment system and preparation the sheet flow diagram, assessment of collection transportation system also, and compiling this information, we have prepared design and finally construct the fecal sludge management treatment plan. Besides, we have preparation a operational guideline, which will guide it for the operation on everything in terms of fecal sludge management system. Besides, we have conducted a environmental impact assessment. So next slide, please.
Sorry.
No, we have a future plan for this in terms of fecal sludge management. So we have a plan to utilize knowledge in upcoming project as well as ongoing project, and planning to building organizational colleagues, capacity building, especially in fecal sludge management. Besides, we have a plan to develop a citywide sanitation plan in other city corporation area. So it also mentioned that we have already taken few initiatives to prepare the sheet flow diagram in the other city areas, as well as, in Bangladesh, lots of project, especially in the Rohingya response. So we have already taken few initiatives to prepare the sheet flow diagram in the Rohingya camp context also. So this is my short presentation, basically.
No,
So,
it's short and precise. Thanks a lot, Tariku.
okay.
Thank you very much. So now our next presenter is from Bangladesh. One of our most valuable partner, which is WaterAid Bangladesh, Dr. Abdul Al Moeed. He heads the policy and advocacy unit of WaterAid Bangladesh. It's an institutional presentation, the journey which CSE and WaterAid Bangladesh has gone in the area of fecal sludge and decentralized wastewater management. So I give the screen to Moeed so that he can deliberate his presentation. Over to you, Moeed.
Excellent. Thank you, my dear friends and colleagues. I hope you can see me, right?
Time you come with interesting presentation, Moeed. I should know.
Excellent. So before starting, I'm showing you some of the puzzles, different shapes here. It's an octagonal, it's a pyramidal one, it's a, some sort of parabolic puzzle. So these are the puzzles, and this is the regular puzzle actually. And these are solved, and some of the puzzles actually I keep it on my desk to play with my friends and my colleagues here. So what they do usually come here and they do it like this, whatever. They do like maze, like this, and they keep it on my desk to solve them. So my task is to solve those puzzles in some time when I have some time. So this is the puzzle solving presentation, I believe. And today I would like to present the ABCs of the, those puzzle solving elements of our partnership between CSC and WaterAid. I'm sure Maureen and Suresh will not give me a lot of time, but do you see my screen, first of all?
We can.
Okay, fantastic. So that's why I actually solve it here. I'm opening the solution here. This is the solution of the puzzle. And if I go to, unfold this puzzle one more time, so we will get 4 elements of the, whole puzzle, solving agent. The first one, let me go back to the 2009. You know that, I mean, WaterAid and the CSC, both the organizations are very much, strong in advocacy with their national government. And during 2009, because of our, initiation of our whole partnership, WaterAid Bangladesh at first sent a few of our colleagues to India, to CSC, to get the training, who are very much, professional on training. And they returned to Bangladesh with their expertise. I don't want to quote their name. They are very much famous architects in the country. But soon after that, we look back both the organizations, and we revealed that we need to understand our strengths and we need to create some opportunities accordingly. And the strength of the CSC is the training, and we want to expand it in Bangladesh. So we reversed the model immediately during 2009. So from India, CSS experts are invited to come to Bangladesh, and immediately, we could create more than 30 professionals at a time. And the time started with the DWARS and rainwater harvesting. Yesterday, you already got a presentation on the rainwater harvesting, and today I would like to, present mostly on the DWARS and FSM, how our journey started and where we are right at this moment. So let me focus on the strength of our individual organizations, and we signed an MOU and agreement and MOU and started working together immediately. At that time, the Millennium Development Goal, MDG era, and both the organizations are doing the advocacy with the national government, right? And we want to keep in mind that actually catalyzed what would be the appropriate changes for the SDG globally. So from national aspect, CSC's contribution, from India's aspect, and from Bangladesh aspect, WaterAid contribution connected to the SDGs alignment later on. So now coming to the, after the strength of the advocacy, what we would like to deliver. The second one is the research and capacity development. So we wanted to see a bigger picture here. So we wanted to have some research opportunity here. We want to establish here in Bangladesh, create this opportunity with the sector capacity development initiative. And that actually creates a bigger opportunity. And we paved that. And as I mentioned earlier, the DWARS was the first generation where we started soon, after 2010. It continued until 2015. But who doesn't love the flower? And we have created state-of-the-art example evidences in some of the parts of the Bangladesh, like in Khulna. There are 4 models. I believe those are the state-of-the-art DWARS model. And one in Shakipur, which was actually the first generation DWARS. So you see, when I say that, it's become the first generation, second generation, and that means it's the continuous evolvement of the research and improvement. That's what we did it together. And we build up a very strong professional network, 150 plus professionals since then. I'm very, excited to say this number. And I'm glad to see many of the alumni today here, actually the impact, greater impact of the seeding that we did in 2009. And these professionals are very important. Why? Because they are from the government, they are from the private sector, they are from the NGOs. And whenever they become the alumni, got the training, they go back their institutions and apply their training, learning into their own field. And I can say a very good example here. In whoever visited Bangladesh, you know, from Gulshan 1 Avenue to 2 Avenue of this street is very posh area. And there are, I know in 2018, I estimated that there were 22 buildings which were, you know, on the way to get green certificate. Some of them already got at that time, 5 out of 22. And out of 22, 18 of them were designed by somehow our alumni. This is the impact I am telling it here, very meticulously. I don't need any other thing. When I got this impact, that's the bigger picture we want to see to create an ambient environment for Bangladesh, the country, the change that we really need in the coming days. We created, you know, some research and evidences, you know, some of the research papers were output, visible output. And we also evaluated our DWAS system in the coming days, you know, later on, and it worked very well. And not only that, CSE has its own DWAS manual, but in order to make it more robust, more global, so WaterAid UK with the technical expertise through me, it has been channelized through me, of course, but I'm glad to let you know that WaterAid UK has its global guideline, and definitely, you know, the knowledge that has been transferred from CSE to Bangladesh and to make it a global impact in the other country programs of the WaterAid, separate technical guidelines have been prepared by WaterAid UK. And we don't want to stop our research. We want to see our next generation research. And when we say that we treated the wastewater, can we do the recharge on this? Of course, don't worry at this moment. We will not do it until we get a lot of very good evidence. But we started the research with the University of Dhaka. The potential is very, 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 you know, positive right at this moment. But I can say you right at this moment, they are, you know, as good as the quality of irrigation. So I can have this evidence, but in order to do a little bit, you know, more as research quality, we need to do a further stage. We are taking this forward. So this is the story of the wastewater that we took it for, you know, since 2009, and we are contributing now for the SDG 6 achievement together. Further, you know, research and collaborative efforts that come from here in Bangladesh, we were very much confident on the circular economical aspect, cradle to grave concept, and accordingly, the state-of-the-art co-composting or FSM technology, we, you know, implemented since 2014. And we shared our knowledge also with CSE, and very honestly, you know, throughout the knowledge and expertise from their end and from our practical implementation, it created such a strong bond. Even Faecal glue is not stronger than this bond, I am sure of that. So the solid waste management, Faecal sludge management, and we started the sector capacity development on FSSM. This is the first word. India is using mostly on septage management. I could still remember I had the discussion with Suresh and we wanted the Faecal sludge management. So we combined it together and made this FSSM. We started this journey since 2015, and the training that we organized in Dhaka or bigger Dhaka have contributed a lot. And today I can see a lot of alumni from there also. Of course, the training materials of the CSCs are very much, you know, influential and very much helpful in that journey. And we have created more than 100 professionals throughout this training period from 2015 to 2017. Of course, the ingredients are SFD, as many of you know, and sanitation safety plan. Those are the ingredients and the parts and parcel of the whole training package. And we have created some of the technical evidences, you know, also which are exemplified in the global scale. I would like to go to the third point now. Throughout this journey until 2017, we have developed some expertise. And this expertise wanted to reflect on, again, as an agent of advocacy further. We want to see the bigger picture. So both the organizations now have, this expertise on this waste management and fecal sludge management, circular economy, sanitation safety planning, and integrated solid waste management. And most importantly, how we would like to implement this SFD, sheet flow diagram, in a future SFD as a monitoring tool. And that's what we are actually convening it together. These 100+ professionals are the catalyst. That's what we believe, particularly after that 2017 journey. And these expertise together, I really believe is not the unidirectional, it's the both directional, from India to Bangladesh and from Bangladesh to India. And I'm sure of that we will do it in the coming days. That last element, you cannot see it, it's the invisible one. Even at the left bottom side, you can see that it's invisible, but you can see money and partnership. I mean, it's an open channel. We don't have any sort of, formal MOU or agreement now since 2017. But we last minute, right? The strategic partnership lead us to such a pinnacle of this journey. We developed such model, and as evidence, we have developed 9 SFDs, SFD help desk, of course, some of other innovation, but most importantly, to influence the national government from each country to contribute for the FSM and other topics also. And this will definitely lead us to achieve the SDG 6.2 goal. So those who have still confusion on what is this ABC, I am solving it for the ABC, and the puzzle has been solved. You see? Thank you so much. It's well solved. Over to you, Mani.
Really impressive presentation. That's why we say we see WaterAid as a valuable partner, and now in India also we are developing partnership ahead, scaling up. Thank you very much, Mohit. Always appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Suresh.
All right. So we go to the next presenter, Mr. Suraj. He's the Associate Director at IP Global. It is going to be an institutional presentation, Applied Learnings from CSC Training. So just a sec. I will do. Okay.
Can people restrict to 5-6 minutes because we have 3-4 presentations?
Yeah. So over to you, Suraj.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. It was a very wonderful session since the morning to understand and learn a very good experience of the state. So here, from IP perspective, I would be sharing 3 different learning that we have used and applied in some of the projects that we are working in India and other parts of the Southeast Asia. Next presentation. Yes. So the first story is about Andaman and Lakshadweep Island. This is a project that we are doing as part of Niti Aayog support. And then one of the solutions that we have been asked to derive is that what kind of a sustainable island resilient plan that we can come across in terms of both water and sanitation. So of course I will have a slide at the end of the day which summarize all the key takeaways from all these exercises that we have done. The picture that you see here, it is a kind of a contrast where we see a very good island, beautiful sceneries, and also if you go inside the islands, you also realize that there is a big issues in terms of waste management, both in terms of liquid waste management, solid waste management. Water is a big challenge because salinities and the groundwater table, although it's pretty high, but it has high salinity content. So getting a fresh water is a challenge in the island. So the challenge here we had that how do we link all these problems and convert into a solution, not only to water as a standalone solution, not only the wastewater as a standalone solution, but linking all these together, of course, linking with also agriculture. I have come across recently an article of PSC which says that there is a way out here that if we link water, sanitation, and agriculture, I totally believe and agree to that. And this is how we have also tried and implement in both the islands, Andaman and Lakshadweep, that how all these problems can be connected together in terms of a solution. Next slide. So as part of the climate resilient infrastructure planning, the integrations component, if we talk about, we look into both centralized and decentralized approach of wastewater solutions, but not just restricting ourselves to that, but also linking into the reuse model of the co-compostings from the solid waste part. So what are we trying to achieve here? That we not only looking into wastewater solutions of the entire islands, but also devoid for the large premises of commercials and the schools and these bigger premises where these devoids can be installed. We need to understand here that wastewater management is not just a challenge for the environment as a macro element, but also it affects the day-to-day life of the islanders there. If the duck whale that you see, the duck whale that you have in the island is the only source of water, and the contaminations getting in from these toilets and untreated waste getting into the groundwaters, polluting the limited amount of aquifer that you have. So, and again, how do you handle the waste? You cannot have an incineration plant with a kind of a population that we are looking into 10,000 or 20,000 of population. You have to find an alternative. So what was happening in these islands, like one of the islands in Lakshadweep, which is a mini Kauai with the 20,000 population, they were actually transporting the waste to Kochi, which is a near port here. So you understand the amount of challenges that differ from the mainland to the islands. The waste becomes a problem, because the footprint, the land footprint is very limited here. Similarly, so as I said, the devoids has been looked into in a wider aspect, not only at the bigger premises of the residential area, but also for sure for the institutional premises. So what kind of application that we have got here from the training that team members has got in? So one of the training that it was the citywide water and sanitation management approach that has my 4 to 5 team members have get into it, and they understand the essence and the meaning of the green infrastructures. How do we plan the whole water planning, and then ODF and how do we link all these water sanitations and other components together. So interestingly, one of the green infrastructure component that our team member like Sakshi Gudara was part of it. And then just after that, this workshop, we had a very combined meeting at our Delhi office, and then we share the ideas, and then we come up with an idea that why can't we have kind of a FSTP in a climatic challenging situation in Andaman or Lakshadweep, which is LEED or GRIHA certified. So looking into that kind of aspect that we have tried and figured out in both the islands, where we say that we have come up with a detailed project report and the whole planning that we have developed. And we say that the island, the first time, in fact, if these projects get implemented, which Niti Aayog is looking after, and they are very aggressive in terms of implementation, these FSTPs will have 4 to 5 green GRIHA ratings in terms of the whole sustainability pictures and all. So just to give you a glimpse of not just looking into the powers and the reuse of the construction material, but also not looking into the bore wells for the day-to-day maintenance of the FSTPs, but largely relying on the rainwater harvesting and adhering to the sustainability needs of the island. Next slide, please. So this is the second story here. This is, we recently did a project, it was GGI funded in Cambodia, in Siam Reap. And it was largely to understand the need of FSM, need of efficient sanitation solutions in these cities. So just to give you a context here, the background here, the Siam Reap is a place where you have this Angkor Wat temple, the world's largest Hindu temple, and the cities contribute to 15% GDPs of the entire Cambodia's economy. So huge influx in terms of the tourist population that you get in. You see the picture down here that large number of crowd in the cities, and eventually we realized that 50% of the population, 50% of the users group in the cities is the tourist which is coming to these towns. So a very contrasting situation where, hello?
Yeah, please go ahead, Suraj.
Yeah, so very contrasting situation here where we have huge amount of tourist influx coming in the cities. Then how do you understand the design, the needs of the cities? And this is where one of the signature tool of CEC, the SFT, has been used to understand that how the whole shit flow diagram, how this whole process is flowing, not just from the sewerage or from the septic tank, but also from the other source of other source of the containment, and what kind of a green and red that we see here in terms of the action areas. So very interesting and very impressive tool. Although we have tried and customized some of these tools, but this has been a very helpful to understand that what are the key areas in Siam Reef that we need to take into account in terms of sanitation interventions. Next slide, please. Now, the two projects that I talked about, it was about the more of a planning and then whole designing and the approach and the solution that we, as a team that we have come across. This third and the last story is about Rajasthan.
I think Suraj. Hello.
Suraj, can you unmute yourself? I think by
Yes,
mistake.
yes.
Or... Yeah, please.
No issues. I hope you were able to hear all that I said before this slide.
Yeah. Just a very small
Okay.
lag only. Just please go ahead.
Okay, so so we talked about the kind of planning and approach that we have developed in a couple of projects, both in Andaman and Siam Reef, and there are more to it. But this is a project that we have come across in terms of a construction, implementation, and I would say the complete project cycle support from planning, designing, supervision, construction monitoring, and the whole of it. Of course, there was setback also initially because we started in 2016 and there was some failed solutions that was not economical or feasible in terms of sewage solutions or non-sewage solutions. So so the success story in Rajasthan is a mix of it. It is not just only in terms of infrastructure, it is in terms of embedded solutions in the urban sanitation framework of the municipalities, and also the kind of strategic and then kind of measures the state has to look into it. So what we did that we look into the holistic picture of the sanitation solutions. Of course, infrastructure is one prime area. So we developed the 3 pilot FSTPs, the first kind of FSTPs in Rajasthan that we have developed. Now all of 3 of them are operational. You see the picture here in the slide, which is before and after situations. So like, most of these trucks were coming in and they were desludging it and dumping in open ground. You see the unsafe practice of desludging operations from the desludging operators, private operators. Now there's a shift to the whole situation in Rajasthan, especially in the 3 areas where you have a very good functional FSTPs and you have an entire SOP, standard operating procedures in place in Rajasthan. And as I said, that not just infrastructure, but also these, we have develop a FSM ordinance, sanitation ordinance at the town level, which has been approved from the municipal board. So this includes that, set of kind of a resolution that the ULB has to look into in terms of institutional regulatory reforms, licensing, ensuring that, all the truck operators adhere to it and then they follow the guidelines of dumping to the treatment plants and other set of the requirements. So, and then what do we see here that not just in terms of solutions, a fixed solution, but we have to look into the progressive realization of the solutions. So we set up a sanitation committee in the town, and then
1 minute left.
A couple of last slides. So then we have given a control to the committees that they take a decisions for all the future actions in that regard. So even the consultant and the contractors, the operators comes into the exit phase. We have a strong and solid plan in place to make this entire solution sustainable in the long run. Next slide.
So can you just summarize in last slide? Okay, what you can relate it with the learnings from the training, because we have 4 presentations more to go.
Next slide. That's about the CSU training. So so as I said that some of my team members have participated in the trainings, and I have specifically asked them to create this table so that the learning can be clearly communicated here. So 3 trainings from CSC, we are very thankful to all of them. And then so one is about the tools and approaches that we talked about for water and sanitation management. And this is how we learn that how efficiently we can plan our islands level design and planning for the sanitation approaches, our integrated approaches just I talked about. And not just sanitation as a standalone solution, but looking into the sustainable solution for the water also, for all the rainwater harvesting tools and all the green infrastructure technique that CSC training has given to the participants. They have been largely used to customize the infrastructure solution in terms of a green solutions here. Second is a sanitation safety planning. Then again, like looking into this whole SFD using as part of the Siam Reef solutions, and other parts of the analysis also. SFD is a signature tool that we always use. Understanding the case studies and references, best practices has also been really helpful to understand that what are the key takeaways probably in that project context we can use it here. Overall, there are more to it, although we have been asked to summarize in 5 slides. So I, as a organization, IT Global is very thankful to CSEs to give us this opportunities to present and share the kind of experiences that we had, and also more than that, I think like more than 10 to 15 team members have been fortunate enough to take participations in the lot of other trainings also that CSE has organized, and very helpful experience. I must say it is one platform that has given a holistic picture of looking into sanitations, waters, and other things. So yeah, very helpful in totality.
Thank you, Suraj. Thank you. Excellent
Thank
presentation.
you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
So we do have a very tight walk now, Marine, because we have a couple of presentations. Yes. And is the next speaker ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
S.K. Gupta ji. He's the General Manager, Gomti Pollution Control Unit, Uttar Pradesh Jal Nigam. An institutional partnership because CSE has an MOU with the Directorate of local bodies, UP. We have a PSU and a TSU unit set in UP with regard to fecal sludge management. So Gupta ji, you are over to you, 6 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Myself, S.K. Gupta, and I am looking after the FSSM project of UP with the guidance of Amrit Directorate. Our UP Jal Nigam is responsible for the water supply and sewerage project of Uttar Pradesh, and we are also the implementing agency of Amrit towns. And in UP, total number of ULBs are 562. Out of that, we are considering under Amrit are 60s, and out of that, 57 are considered under FSTP program. For these FSTP plants, CSC has given the support to UP Jal Nigam. They have sent 60 officials under different program within the country and outside the country. They have given 5 technical training, 2 regional workshop, and 3 numbers national exposure visits and 3 international exposure visits. By these, Jal Nigam people learned how to implement the FSTP plants country as well as outside the state. We have developed one plant in Unnao, and it is giving very good results as decided by the Ministry of Environmental and Forest. And results of BOD is less than 10. It is very good, but TSS is somewhat exceeding the limits. For that, we are considering how to reduce that. Now, out of 31 FSTP plants, we have proposed 7 technologies. And with the help of CSR, we will monitor the different technologies and decide which is the best suited solution for FSTP plants. Suggestion for the training is that CSC should every month 4 engineers training outside the state or outside the country, so that we can develop footprint for the next generation.
What was your international experience, sir? Because you have been part of our international exposure visit. You want to share?
We went to the Maya and we seen 7 to 8 places where FST plant were constructed, and
very good.
Very good.
So,
okay, thank you very much.
Thank you,
sir.
Gupta ji, for a very encouraging response and coverage of UP's experiences. And we are privileged to assist Department of Urban Development. And with your support, we would be able to take up further work. So, Mehreen, please.
Yeah. So our next presentation is from NMCG National Mission Clean Ganga, Mr. Rajat Gupta and Nidhi Dwivedi. So the presentation is again on the institutional level with regard to the fecal sludge management. So over to you, Nidhi.
Thanks, Mary. Thanks, Dr. Rohila.
Hi, Rajat.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Right. So, good afternoon all. One thing is that Namami Gange, the program which is being executed by National Mission for Clean Ganga, it is primarily from the perspective of rejuvenation of River Ganga. Can we move on to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And when we talk of River Ganga, it's basically the River Ganga basin that we are looking at. The River Ganga, which is nearly 2,500 odd kilometers, and it contains 11 states and 5 states mainly on the River Ganga main stem itself. And the catchment area is nearly 8 lakh square kilometers. Can you move on to the next step, please? And this covers nearly 26% of India's total land mass and 47% population that resides in Ganga basin. And nearly there are 40 odd rivers or tributaries of River Ganga that we are looking at. It contributes nearly 28% of India's water resources. So this is about basically Ganga basin that we are looking at, and we are working on to it, and for the cleanliness or the rejuvenation of River Ganga. Next slide. And when we look at the rejuvenation or the cleaning part of River Ganga, the major polluters that we are looking at is municipal wastewater, industrial pollution, solid waste, and agro residues, etc., and some non-point sources. And when we look at municipal wastewater, right? So, and primarily for all of these factors, there are certain Namami Gange components that we have devised and we are working on to it. So can we move on to the next slide? So there are nearly 7 components that the Namami Gange program has conceptualized. It's a Nirmal Dhara, which is looking at the cleaning of the river. Aviral Dhara, it's ensuring the continuous flow into the river. And then we are looking at water quality monitoring regularly, the river water quality monitoring, and then certain aspects which connects the citizens to the river, that is development of river fronts, ghats, crematoria, etc. And then there are certain aspects which are linked to the river rejuvenation, like afforestation, biodiversity conservation, and then going into policy, research, knowledge management, and certainly not the least, and one of the most important tasks is public participation. Because unless until public participation is there, we certainly cannot really look into for the Ganga rejuvenation or Ganga cleaning. So everyone needs to contribute in over here. Next slide, please. And in Nirmal Dhara, when we look at the pollution abatement aspect, what we are really looking at from the perspective of municipal sewage, creation of sewage infrastructure and sewage treatment plants in the towns, and then industrial pollution abatement, rural sanitation aspects, water quality monitoring, and solid waste management. But when we look at the municipal sewage or the sewerage infrastructure, so the Namami Gange program has been addressing primarily the municipal sewage that is being generated from the large towns. And NMCG has been advocating development of networks and preparation of conventional sewage treatment plants for the treatment of that sewage. But that particular aspect of that particular kind of a strategy was not adequate enough to really address the sewage from the smaller towns, the towns which are generating less than 2 MLD of sewage or 1 MLD of sewage. Right, so it's not really economically viable to develop a network over there, or even going in for interception and diversion kind of a systems, and then going in for treatment or conventional STPs. And some of those towns even are heavily dependent upon the septic tanks or soak pits. So really don't have very continuous flow of wastewater even into the drains over there. And there's another problem of even in the bigger towns wherein we have developed the sewerage networks of the STP, there is a continuous development of new townships keeps coming in. And these townships are not really connected with the networks or the kind of sewage treatment plants that we have developed over there. So that kind of a wastewater is again generated and goes into the river. And that is where we need to have a change in the strategy, and wherein we discussed with CSE, Dr. Rohila has been there with us for a lot of those such discussions, and wherein we came to a conclusion that yes, there is a need for inclusion of fecal sludge management also in the strategy. So next step please. So realizing that National Mission for Clean Ganga entered into an MOU with the CSE, Center for Science and Environment, for providing technical assistance in mainstream fecal sludge and septage management in Ganga Basin. Although the agreement was executed on 14/9/2018, but the work really started even before that. And with CSE, we have been able to develop certain capacity. Already around 35 officials from NMCG, State Mission for Clean Ganga, and state executive agencies have already been trained on fecal sludge management aspects from CSE. And the strategy modification that I was looking at, what we have come to know or what we have decided to move into is that we need to promote standalone FSTPs for the smaller towns, which are primarily depend upon septic tanks and soak pits. Right? And these kind of towns are really not economically viable or sustainable to be covered under interception diversion or network or conventional STP kind of a projects. And the second modification that was done was even in the STPs, wherein we have already in the larger towns, wherein we have developed larger STPs, we should have a provision for an FSTP. And if there is a possibility, then even a co-treatment or co-processing of the fecal sludge within the sewage treatment plant. And towards these initiatives, we, with the help of CSE, also took up a project in Chunar for development of a fecal sludge and septic treatment plant. It's a small town in UP, and wherein this study was undertaken by CSE and the project was sanctioned. And the project is currently under implementation. In addition, in Bihar and West Bengal, certain projects have been taken up in large towns wherein the co-treatment or co-processing of the fecal sludge have already been taken into consideration and sanctioned. Fecal sludge management or co-treatment has also been largely used in Prayagraj during Kumbh, wherein a lot of wastewater is generated from the temporary toilets that have been constructed onto the banks of River Ganga. And in order to prevent the pollution of River Ganga, all that fecal sludge was taken to the existing sewage treatment plants for the treatment. Right? And similarly, this Kanpur also, we are promoting all this fecal sludge and its treatment in existing sewage treatment plants. Next slide, please. And even in the future course, what we are looking at is we continue to promote the fecal sludge management in Ganga Basin and also in the other river basins, right? Even beyond, going beyond the Ganga through NRCD or some other agencies. We are also looking at performance assessment of the ongoing projects for further improvements that needs to be taken up while sanctioning the new projects. And also learning from the experiences that we have in Odisha or other places, maybe through CSE, we need to learn all of these things. And we are going to utilize the same co-treatment even in Haridwar Kumbh 2021, because again, there's going to be a huge congregation of the public wherein this needs to be utilized. And we look forward to continue the capacity building or training exposure visits. Right? So this is in brief what we have been doing on fecal sludge management towards achieving our objective of Ganga rejuvenation. So that's in brief. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Rajat. Thank you very much. And we need to do more, actually.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Rajat. All the best. I'll catch up with you separately, but we can now go to one of the target towns where this is also part of the Ganga Basin strategy where CSC is supporting. Marine.
Yeah. So as in continuation to what Dr. Rohila mentioned, so this is, we have a technical support unit for two of the cities of UP. One is Chunar, which Mr. Rajat Gupta mentioned in his presentation. The another one is Bijnor. And we have with us Mr. Durgeshwar Tripathi, who is the executive officer at Bijnor, who will be talking, Bijnor Nagar Palika Parishad, who will be talking about the institutional presentation. So over to you, sir.
Hi, सबको नमस्कार. मैं दुर्गेश्वर त्रिपाठी, दिशा से अधिकारी नगर पालिका परिषद बिजनौर. Please show me
the previous one, sir.
जी, और मैं बताना चाहूँगा कि CSC से नगर पालिका बिजनौर 4-5 सालों से जुड़ी हुई है और मैं यहाँ 2018 में कार्यरत हूँ. 2018 से तो सबसे पहले हम लोग 2019 में CSC के साथ MOU किए कि उनके द्वारा हमें जो करंट सिनेरियो चल रहा है उसके संदर्भ में एक सपोर्ट मिलेगा, कैसे और कैसे क्या करना है. और CSC के द्वारा हमारे यहाँ नगर पालिका के JE और पहले EO जो हैं उनको और विभिन्न SDM DM साहब तक के सबको ट्रेनिंग विभिन्न 17 अलग-अलग टॉपिक पे सबको ट्रेनिंग कराई गई है. नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज. और मैं बताना चाहूँगा कि जैसे यहाँ इनके द्वारा एक सिटी सैनिटेशन प्लान बनाया गया, इफेक्टिव सेप्टेज मैनेजमेंट, को ट्रीटमेंट और सैनिटेशन की सेफ्टी प्लानिंग कैसे हो, हेल्थ एंड सेफ्टी सैनिटेशन वर्कर्स का कैसे क्या हो. और SFD टूल के द्वारा हम लोगों ने अपने यहाँ का फीकल स्लज का एक मेजरमेंट देखा कि शुरुआती में जब हम फीकल स्लज से के कैसे प्रॉपर ट्रीटमेंट और वैज्ञानिक तरीके उससे परिचित नहीं थे और हमारे शहर का क्या एक अलाइनमेंट है फीकल स्लज का, किस स्तर से वो हम नहीं कर पा रहे हैं और कहाँ तक हमारी चीजें हैं, उस तरीके की चीजें बनाई गई. और ये कुछ फोटोग्राफ्स हैं जहां हमारे एक्सपोजर्स और कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग के लिए ट्रेनिंग्स हुई थी. इसमें 2 ट्रेनिंग मैंने भी अटेंड की, उड़ीसा वाली और एक बांग्लादेश में. उड़ीसा में हम लोगों ने भुवनेश्वर में मैं जाकर के देखा, अभी तक किताबों में जो देखा था या फिर पढ़ा था, लेकिन वहां जाकर वहां देखा कि वहाँ को ट्रीटमेंट कैसे चल रहा था. और बांग्लादेश का शफीपुर मॉडल जाकर के देखा था कि वहाँ कैसे को कंपोस्टिंग की जा सकती है. इसके लिए बिजनौर में भी हम लोग प्रयासरत हैं और लैंड और इत्यादि सारी चीजें हो चुकी हैं. सुन जैसे होगा हम लोग काम कर लेंगे. इसके लिए हम लोग सिटी में एक सिटी सैनिटेशन टास्क फोर्स बना गया जिसमें यहाँ के स्टेक होल्डर्स और नगर पालिका के एम्प्लॉई और शहर के कुछ ऐसे लोग हैं जिसके साथ हमारे अभी हाल में ही 5वीं बैठक हुई है कोविड-19 को लेकर के और फीकल स्लज को लेकर के, दोनों को कैसे कोरिलेट करके हमें आगे बढ़ना है, इसके बारे में हमारी चर्चा की. नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज. अभी जैसे हम लोग बता रहे हैं कि हमारा ड्राफ्ट बिल्कुल बन चुका है कि हम कैसे काम करेंगे. FSM रूल जो है यूपी गवर्नमेंट से भी जो है उसको देखते हुए और सिटी और यहाँ के CSC के जो कोलिग्स हैं हमारे साथ, उन्होंने बताया है कि कैसे इसको बन गया. ड्राफ्ट बिल्कुल फाइनल रूप में जल्दी इसका इम्प्लीमेंट किया जाएगा और इसके लिए हम लोग लैंड वगैरह की भी चीजें हमारे पास आ चुकी हैं. जल्दी ही सारी कार्य हम लोग कर लेंगे.
थैंक यू, वेरी गुड.
थैंक यू सर. और
मैं ये चीज बताना चाहूंगा, ये सेफ्टी का एक जो हमारा था जो टूल अभी था कि 2017 में मात्र 3% हम लोग 3% पे जो हम लोग थे. ये मैं चाहूंगा कि सेफ्टी का ड्राइंग में दिखाया जाए जिसमें शुरू मात्र 3% पे थे. आज हम लोग 47% सेफ्टली मैनेज कर रहे हैं. ये चीज मैं बड़ी ईमानदारी से कहूंगा, बांग्लादेश में गया तो मैं समझा, मुझे नहीं पता था ये सेफ्टी है क्या चीज. तो CSC का जाने के बाद जैसे हम लोग बिल्कुल सिंपल आर्ट बैकग्राउंड के हैं, ये टेक्निकलिटी समझ में आई. भाई किसी शहर में अगर फर्दर भी मेरी पोस्टिंग होती है तो ये टूल बहुत ही अच्छा है और आगे मैं भी लोगों को बताने की कोशिश करूंगा.
थैंक यू सर. थैंक यू सर.
आगे स्लाइड चेंज कर दीजिए.
और ये हमारा कुछ मेसन ट्रेनिंग था और PPE किट था कि कैसे हम अगर कहीं डिस्लज कर रहे हैं और शेड्यूल डिस्लज कर रहे हैं. इसमें बताना चाहूंगा कि हमारा कोई रजिस्टर्ड नहीं था तो हम लोग प्राइवेट डिस्लजर को रजिस्टर्ड किए और हमारे पास खुद मैं अपनी 2 मशीनें फंक्शनल कराया हूँ और ताकि कैसे शहर में जो ये FSM को कैसे किया जा सके. ये कोविड-19 को लेकर के जो दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण तरीके से अपने देश और क्या पूरा विश्व सामना कर रहा है, इसके लिए अवेयरनेस हुआ और इसमें CSC का काफी सपोर्ट मिला. लगभग 800 पेंटिंग और 150 से ज्यादा स्लोगन और 50 से ज्यादा वॉल राइटिंग और पब्लिक एड्रेस सिस्टम के द्वारा पूरे बिजनौर में इस चीज का अवेयरनेस किया गया और काफी अच्छा इसका प्रभाव रहा जिला प्रशासन से लेकर के अन्य नगर पालिकाएं भी और अन्य संस्थाएं भी इससे काफी प्रेरित। ये हम लोगों का है कि आगे का कैसे प्लान है, तो डीपीआर हम लोगों का ये बन चुका है, सॉरी बाइलाज, इसका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन कराना है। और इसके साथ एक बहुत पहले हम लोग का डिस्कस हुआ था डिवार्ड सिस्टम का, डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड वेस्ट वाटर, ये भी हमारे नगर पालिका के पार्क में चीजें हैं। जैसे थोड़ा सा कोविड-19 की चीजें जैसे जैसे सामान्य हो रही हैं, कुछ फाइनेंशियल इश्यूज भी हैं, उसके बाद हम इस विषय में बहुत आगे बढ़ेंगे।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
थैंक यू दुर्गेश्वर जी, बहुत अच्छा काम बढ़ रहा है, बट आपके सहयोग के बिना ये संभव नहीं था। बट आई एम हैप्पी कि आप लोगों को काफी अच्छा लगा कि जो आप लोगों ने सीखा वो जमीन तौर पे। त्यागी जी, a friend and a partner with whom we have worked, please, from Delhi Jal Board.
Thank you, Suresh, and thank you, Marine, for giving me the opportunity to speak about the long association of CSC with Delhi Jal Board and the subsequent achievement in Delhi Jal Board. Good afternoon, everyone, the eminent speakers, jury members, and the participants. It will be a very injustice for me to finish my talk within 5 minutes or 6 minutes for the long association of 15 years with CSC. At least give me 1 minute for 1 year.
आपका एक अलग से वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग करके आप भिजवाइएगा, हम डालेंगे वेब।
Thank you so much. Can you share my presentation?
So,
very small presentation.
You have mailed me that presentation?
No, I have not mailed. It is on my screen.
Okay, you want to?
फिर आपको screen
Okay, got it. ठीक है
तो
सर,
आपको शेयर करना पड़ेगा।
आप शेयर कर लीजिए।
I am sharing. That is visible?
Yes.
Yeah. And am I audible?
Yes.
So thank you so much. It is a long association with Delhi Jal Board with CSC. The first I interacted with CSC in 2005 when we were fighting in Supreme Court in a Mali Yamuna case that was CWP 720 by 1 1994. And every department were filing the affidavit alleging Delhi Jal Board responsible for polluting river Yamuna. Then we interacted Madam Sunita Narayan. She gave us very, very good suggestions for us to encounter all those affidavits by giving some concrete proposal before the Supreme Court. So with her advice, we then filed an affidavit encountering the affidavit of the then Secretary, Ministry of Urban Development, who is now the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi. So it was a very challenging job for us, but it was succeeded by submitting the proposal of interceptor sewer along the 3 major drains and to trap all the drains into the sewerage system for reuniting the river Yamuna. So that was my first interaction with CSC, who was very helpful in giving me the right advice for fighting the case. The second one was the CSC. We actually, all the senior officers of the Delhi Jal Board were very fond of visiting the abroad in the name of the good and the technical support and for the name of capacity building. Of course, it is a routine visit for them, but there was no scope of giving the training or imparting the training to the front-end employees, that is plumbers, the operators, the fitters, and the junior engineers. So they were not having the proper training. Then we approached to CSC in 2000, I remember in 2012. So we approached to Suresh, and then he accepted our offer. Then they imparted training to the engineers, junior engineers, plumbers, and the technical workers of the Delhi Jal Board on rainwater harvesting system, on constructing the septic tanks, and the small DWAT system, the decentralized wastewater treatment plant. And with the result, and you remember, Mr. Suresh, that I spared my entire day with your training program. I was there during the lunch. I sat on with the plumbers to see the trainings, how it is effective. And the result came, and it was very useful training for at least for plumbers and our technical workers who added their livelihoods by constructing the rainwater harvesting system in the city. They constructed the septic tank on the very technically in technical manners, and they earned money by after obtaining the training from the CSC. Now the third support that was very a paradigm shift in the Diligent board, the construction of decentralized wastewater treatment plant at Delhi Jal Board headquarters. It is a very beautiful story behind it, that there used to be a sewage overflow in front of the Jhandewala temple. So we found out that why it is happening in the daytime, because then we found out that the sewage and the wastewater from the headquarters, which is operating the daytime, is causing the overflow in the sewage system. So then Mr. Rohilla suggested that why don't you set up a decentralized wastewater treatment plant at the headquarters, which will eliminate the sewage overflow, and it will add to the clean water for the horticulture purposes within the premises of the Diligent board. Then we invited the tenders, and then you remember, Mr. Suresh, that nobody was daring to come forward to construct this decentralized wastewater treatment plant, because nobody knew that what is the decentralized wastewater treatment plant. Then we conducted a workshop within the Delhi Jal Board headquarters. We called some the expert contractors. Then we made to learn them that it is very simple structure. It is like a septic tank followed by the filtration media and growing some vegetation over it. Then they came forward and then they constructed the decentralized wastewater treatment plant of 35 KLD at Delhi Jal Board headquarters. And ultimately, we were drawing the water from the wells. There were two wells dedicated for horticulture purposes, which were eliminated thereafter after operating this decentralized sewage treatment plant.
अब तो policy बना दी है दिल्ली government ने, sir.
No. Then I will remind you one more story. Then we conducted a seminar in India Habitat Center on sanitation and the rejuvenation of water bodies and river Yamuna. Then you raised a question that why Delhi Jal Board is not owning the water bodies, and I objected it to because it is not our mandate. And then you reminded me that these water bodies are the source of raw water, and due to the sewage water coming to the water bodies and filling the wastewater, it is polluting the groundwater, which is another source of Delhi Jal Board for drinking water. Then when I took over as a member water in September 2013, my first task was to place the proposal before the board for adopting all the water bodies in Delhi by Delhi Jal Board. And then Delhi Jal Board, after a struggle of 3 years, we got succeeded in adopting 255 water bodies for rejuvenation, which has been taken up. And it is very interesting to know that your model of decentralized wastewater treatment plant is being adopted at all the water bodies in the parks for cleaning of the wastewater which is coming from the surrounding area, and it is feeding the water bodies as a clear water. Yes. So it is a source of water for replenishing the groundwater also. And the next, you contributed in finalization of the water policy for Delhi. In 2012, we formulated the water policy, and then we debated a lot, and we held a workshop under the chairmanship of Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, Chief Minister. You were the convener of the and of course you annoyed the CM also at that time by raising some valid questions which were not replied by him. And by the way, then you contributed a lot in formulation of the water policy, which is still on the table of the current Chief Minister, and he has not finalized so far.
He made a policy on decentralized wastewater management.
But he has made the policy of decentralized wastewater treatment plant, and at all the water bodies and at all the decentralized plant, we are adopting this decentralized wastewater treatment plant as we have set up in the headquarters. Another wastewater treatment plant on the same technology is being constructed at Jal Vihar under your guidance and the technical support. And it is going to be, I think, finalized within a month or so. Because of the COVID-19, it got delayed because labor was not there. And recently, you have given a very contributed in formulating the Septage Management Regulation 2018, which has been passed by the Cabinet of Delhi. DJB mainstream the Faecal sludge management and giving the license to the desludgers who were vendors of who are working in the unauthorized colonies, and they were discharging the septage into the existing water bodies and the drains, thus polluting them. Now, with the formulation of this regulation with the help of CSC, now they are being regulated, and now they are discharging their septage, which has been dislodged from the septic tanks from the unsewered areas, into the designated place where the fecal sludge treatment plant is there, or it is being discharged to the respective sewage treatment plant. So it is a very important contribution given by CSC to the Delhi Jal Board. This is the line diagram of the pilot project which has been constructed at Delhi Jal Board headquarters of 35 MLD. This is nothing but a septic tank or the sedimentation tank where the 60 to 70% biological load is reduced, and thereafter the effluent is passed through the filter media and the root zones of some species like Alopheris, Olerisis, Softimes, Bonus.
Tyagi ji, we can provide the details of the presentation.
So there are so many, yeah, of course. So this is being, and then you will surprise to note that the results of the treated effluent are means
meet all the
standards. Tertiary quality. Means it is more than the standard. This is of the tertiary quality. And it was surprised to know that the labor were washing their mouth with this treated effluent, and then we had to force them not to use this for their washing their hand and etc.
Thank you. Happy to hear.
And thereafter, I'm concluding that the advantage of this long association was that it was a one-time investment on the capital cost. There is hardly operation maintenance cost on this plant, and this is being used for the horticulture purpose and the washing purposes also. And 2 TULs, which I have already mentioned, that this has been eliminated. The recurring expenditure has been eliminated, and this model is being replicated in all other Delhi, and there are 10 projects are in hand with Delhi Jal Board for this.
Thank you very much, Tyagi ji. I should also admit it would not have been possible without support of you and that time CEO.
That's right. That's right.
And the South Africa, South Asia country people visit this place, and we are very happy to see that now the government has a policy. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
We have a last presentation. I know I'm extremely sorry for running too late and eating onto lunch hour. We'll have 5 minutes from last presentation, ASCII presentation, I think.
Yeah, it's an oral presentation by Joshna. So,
yes.
And we will close it in 5 minutes. Yeah, please.
Yeah, I won't take much time. So firstly, thank you for the invitation, and apologies, I don't have a formal PPT to present. So I'll get started. So before I explain in detail about the impact of CSC trainings on implementation, I would like to just start by giving a brief introduction to the programs that we run in ASCII, especially in the sector of FSSM.
You can be brief on that. So
yeah. So ASCII supports Government of Telangana and City of Warangal as a technical and knowledge partner in achieving safe sanitation. So Warangal city is one of the CWIS cities, and it is completely dependent on on-site sanitation, and it is one of the first cities to have implemented the FSM guidelines and regulations. So And these guidelines has not only just helped in shaping the Telangana policy, but also the national policy. So ASCII, with the help of a city government and the BMGF, has set up a fecal sludge treatment plan to treat these sludge coming from the on-site sanitation systems. And it is one of the first plants to be installed in our country. And right now, the city is also working towards addressing the needs of women, vulnerable groups, and urban poor, and working towards achieving the CWIS principles. So these experiences of Warangal had led the state to recognize the need for implementing FSSM across the state, and the state has taken a decision to develop 71 FSTPs in all of its ULBs through public-private partnership. And similar exercises were also carried out in AP with the innovations from the city of Narsapur. So just briefing all this, so in all these interventions, having a right kind of human capital within ASCII is very important, and CSE has helped us in building these human capitals, and the course offered by the CSE were of immense benefit for us in learning the tools and techniques, and also knowing the good practices across the globe. So for instance, some of our colleagues has participated in the sheet flow diagram workshop, where we have learned about the creation and also how to use this tool for decision making with the bureaucrats. So leading this workshop, we had prepared the SFD reports for all the towns, that is for 71 towns in Telangana and 106 towns in AP. And this had actually helped us in having a sanitation advocacy with the bureaucrats at the state level. And also these reports has reinforced the need for having FSSM regulations in the state, and also to have FSTPs in all the states of AP and Telangana. So I'd like to thank CSE for providing such capacity building trainings, and I'd like to end by saying that these refresher courses that CSE offered is of greater value for implementing the programs that we do at ASCII. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jyotsna. That was very, very crisp and sound and pointed presentation.
Yeah, I made it very brief in the interest of time.
Oh, very good. So, but I should appreciate everybody and apologize for half an hour delay. And I would like to now formally open up as a moderator for 5 minutes just to ask if anybody has any questions, though we have been asking people to write in the queries or something, query box, chat box. So, and I have seen speakers also responding to that. I have jury members also, if they have any questions, who would be deciding upon which was the highest outcome in terms of approach. So, Rajneesh, do you have any take, and any participants? Please raise your hand and we would be able to take questions.
See, at this stage, there's no question as such, because I think a lot of people has given a very good summary about, and I think in case we'll be deciding who's better and all, we have to take help from your team, because they are the one who has been working extensively with them. And I can see that their last 3 projects, which were like almost where I can find reflection of CSE in every place. Yeah. Like these, the projects of Jal Board. In fact, I also learned from the same examples of Jal Board while I entered into CSE. So there are a lot of relationships which we need to recheck with your team and then start finally give marks.
Actually, every story is so beautiful and so learning experience for even us. Like, we don't know when we do training. So Suparno, are you still around, or Aditya? Is Suparno around? Okay, but Suparno had to go. And he had internet problem also. So I do know that. So any of the participant has any question? I am ready to take, because you have been very patient listening for 3 hours. Any participant has any question? You can unmute yourself, or can the hosts unmute all the participants if they or somebody who raises hand? So if not, then I would like to take this opportunity to say that we would be taking up all the questions and taking them to the speakers and responding them and putting on the website whatever the questions were there and the answers to that. We will be putting up all the presentations on the web. We have also a recording of this webinar, which we have done. So we would be sharing a copy to all participants. And I would like to thank each and every participant and the speaker who has taken time out. And we would like to remain in touch with you. And we would be organizing series of such impact stories. And we would develop a web page. It is actually there for sanitation, which is called Mount. We will also do it for water in the coming months. and where we can put together this alumni web portal where we can learn from each other. We can have regular discussion forum, but annually we could have an event where we could come together and we can review that whatever you share, that there are some projects in the process, how do we move, and we can document these things. So what gets monitored is measured is also the impact. So you would see over here, we had alumni for last 1 or 2 years. We have also partnerships for 10 years. Each and every story was important, useful, I would say good learning for me and my team. I would like to thank all the team members, Mehreen, Shivali, who coordinated this meeting, all other team members, and all Rajneesh, Suparno, Aditya, who spared time from the busy schedules to be with us. And thank you very much to all. Stay healthy, stay safe, take care. And one-to-one, you can reach out to me. You can drop email to me, phone me, and we will be in touch with all of you. Thank you very much, all of you.
There is one participant who has raised his hand.
Maybe if it's to a person, you want to unmute it? Yeah. Or we can.
Yes, sir. Hi, sir. Bakshi this side. So I also would, I just wanted to thank you for all the, trainings. So I've always been an individual participant for the trainings which CSE has organized, not on behalf of any organization, but I've participated always individually, and it has been a true joy every time whenever I participate. I've also had short interactions with you during, if you might be remembering, the urban sanitation workshop at the Priya. Which Priya had organized. Yes. So it has been a true joy to attend all these trainings. First training which I attended was with Bitush sir in 2017 when FSM program was launched in August to December 2017, where got to know about, that time I was studying at Tata Institute, so got to know about shit flow diagrams for the first time. So
every word is very important. It is pearl of wisdom for us, because we keep on doing one training, after that second training, going to another city, another country. Every story is so overwhelming and encouraging. I should say thank you very much, all of you. Thank you, please. So you want to say further last word, and I just concluded because we are actually running behind you.
Yes, I understand. No, you said the last words, and your words matter a lot since you've been working in this sphere for many decades now.
We would like to remain in touch with all of you people, and please keep on coming back to us with more stories, more impactful stories, and we would like to invest more into that and work with you. It's an investment for future. Thank you very much all. I'll officially close this meeting. Mehreen, thank you very much for putting this together. Shivali, thank you very much. Bitush, Rahul, all my program managers, Praveen, and all team members who have put this together. Training is an investment not only from our side, it is investment by your nominating agency, your departments, and we wanted this to be captured, and we will, once we upload this link, we will share it with all the agencies, all the institutional partners. They can also see that what they've invested into. Thank you very much.